Netherlands, and if they get past Senegal, then we will find out the teams that await them, the teams that are next. So yeah, these groups are really, really interesting. It certainly looks like whoever finishes top of this group goes on to England's side of the draw. So it certainly looks like that's France. Basically, Australia would need to win. They would also need to win by quite a wide margin. France would need to lose, and they would need to lose by quite a wide margin. If Tunisia beat France 2-0, and if Australia were to win 2-0, that would mean that France and Australia go through. But it would also mean that France would still stay top. Like, really, they can afford to rest whoever they want to rest. The only person that I think might have a problem with being rested might be Kylian Mbappe, because obviously he is trying, desperately, he is trying to get that golden boot. He would love to be the golden boot winner. So he is trying to achieve that. I don't think he's going to appreciate being rested, even if this game doesn't mean anything. This is a real opportunity for Kylian Mbappe to get some goals. This is a real opportunity for him to extend his lead at the top. At the moment, he is joint leader of the golden boot. He's up there with the likes of Rashford. He's up there with the likes of Valencia. He's up there with the likes of Gakpo. So he is trying now to extend that lead. And so he's not going to appreciate not being in the side. And I don't know if we've had that information through yet, but we can certainly have a look and see if it has come through. Paul, shout out to you. Lauren, shout out to you. Hope you are both well. My voice starting to go a little bit. It'll be all right once we get into things, but I can certainly start to feel the effects now. Let's have a look and see if we've had any French team news confirmed yet. I always tend to go onto Twitter for that, but doesn't look like there is. There should be some team news that's coming out. Where's the French? There it is. I'm going to say, where's the French football account? There it is. Right, okay, so there is no Mbappe by the looks of it. There is no Mbappe. This is quite an interesting team, you know. This is a real interesting team. They've rested everyone. So we've got the likes of, Tchouameni is playing, but there's no Griezmann, there's no Mbappe, there's no Hernandez at the back, there's no Rabiot. This is a completely rested French team. So if you did have French players in your sides, I think this one's going to sting a little bit. I think this one's going to be a bit hard to take because we've got the likes of Mouani up front. Coman plays. Camavinga is at left back. We've got Disassi at right back. We've got Guendouzi up front. Like, these are players I don't even know that are playing, and a much changed French side. Let's see if SofaScore has updated yet. Yeah, it looks like it has. So it looks like SofaScore might have that information. Okay, let's go down. Let's take a screenshot of this here. As I said, some of these players are players that I don't even know, to be honest. So I really thought that Mbappe might feature. Obviously, you've got to put the team first. And actually, if they are doing that, it's a really good sign for France. It's a really good sign if they are putting the team first. Because there's plenty of criticisms about this French side, about how they're not a team. So if there are examples here of them putting the team first because it's going to be better for them in the later rounds, that's great for France. That is going to be great for France. There is the French side. In fact, let me put it up. There we go. There is the French side. So we do have Varane, Konate, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Kingsley Coman. Like, those are names that we know. But there's a lot of other players in there that just don't tend to get much playing time for France. But as we said, you know, they're through. They're through. I mean, in order for them to... I think they are 100% through. really, this is just about, are they going to finish top? And as we said, there would need to be some disastrous scores for them to not be able to finish top. So, yeah, it would have to be an absolute disaster for them. So, they are ranked 4th in the world. Tunisia are ranked 13th in the world. And it is going to be a very, very interesting game. So, looking forward to it. Ashley said, another fascinating day of action. Now it starts to get real serious. Yeah, it's really interesting, really, really interesting because, I mean, yesterday was so much fun. We got 2 groups decided. We got 2 groups that were sorted and worked out. We know who went through. To this one, I must admit, this group, I mean, it's all about Australia, Denmark, to be honest. Australia, Denmark is where we need to be focused, and I will be focused on that game. I suppose what I could do is I could change. I've got on that channel the French game, but I suppose the more interesting game is Australia and Denmark because, as we said, like that's to decide who goes through. Like Denmark need to win. Denmark need to win. If it's a draw, Australia are through. If Australia win, they're through. So a draw or a win for Australia, they go through. Denmark have got to win this game. They've got to win this game. But so far, they've played 2. They've only got a point. They haven't looked brilliant. So we need to see something from Denmark here. Because Denmark was a lot of people's dark horses to go quite far in this tournament. I think on ESPN, Frank Leboeuf had Denmark go into the semi-final. And I certainly had them getting out of the group. So Denmark are a side that I expect to get through. Obviously, we have some people in our community from Australia. So I'm probably going to be rooting for Australia, to be honest, because we do have people in our community from Australia that are going to be rooting for Australia. So what I might do, and I might as well just do it now whilst we're still, gaining people and we're still warming up towards the games. I might just change this TV channel over, which does mean me having to just quickly get up, because I do have it set for BBC One and I have it set for France. But I'm going to change it over so that I've got it for Australia, Denmark, because I think that's going to be the more important game. Obviously, we will have both games. It's just that when you go on a laptop and you go through the internet, there is like a 30-second delay. So anything I watch on the laptop really needs to be the least important game. Or the game that's, I don't know, maybe doesn't quite appeal to the community as much. Yesterday was impossible because, it was either England or USA. So, like, yesterday was impossible. But here, it's like a French team that are really changed, that are already through. Or do we do Australia, Denmark? So, give me 1 second. I'm going to just change this over. I'm going to change this over to Australia, Denmark. I will be back in a moment. Give me 1 minute. Boom. Right, we're back. So, yeah, just changed that over. So, we are watching both games. It just means that we can be a little bit more up to date in regards to Australia and Denmark, which, as we said, I think is going to be the more interesting of games because France are already through and Tunisia are already gone home. Maybe if I was going to be setting these streams up like now, I might have gone with Australia, Denmark, as it's the more entertaining game. But these streams were all set up weeks and weeks ago. So obviously the thumbnails and the streams and all of that kind of stuff, it was all done weeks ago. They've just been set on private mode. So all I had to do was set them to public. And yeah, that's why we've got it all France and Denmark. But we are watching both, Certainly not clickbait. It's certainly not fake news, right? But we will be watching both. I'm going to go for Denmark and France, says Harith. Okay, yeah, well, do you know what? That's a really good shout, actually. Let's put into the chat, see what people think. Let's go, start a poll. Who do you think will progress? Who's going to progress? Is it going to be Australia or is it going to be Denmark? It's going to be really interesting, actually. I think whoever finishes second here, they go over to the United States side of the draw. So this is actually quite important. Whoever finishes first goes to the England side, and that just looks to be France. But whoever finishes second, they go over to the other side, and that is looking like it's going to be either Australia or Denmark. Now, if I was American, I would probably be hoping for Australia. Denmark have got some decent players. Just feels like they haven't quite got going yet. But once they get into a rhythm, once they get some momentum, we saw at the Euros how dangerous they can be. So if I was American, I would be hoping for an Australian win here. Sort of feels like Australia are maxing out. You know, they've managed to beat Tunisia. They lost to France. This is going to be a real tough game for Australia. It's going to be a really tough game. Denmark know that a draw is no good. They've got to get a victory, so they're going to be coming at Australia. Australia aren't the strongest of individuals. They're not the strongest of squads. I just expect wave after wave after wave of like Danish attack. And it'll be like patient and calculated. It won't just be like Brazil, just like, you know, Samba style or anything like that. It's going to be patient. It's going to be calculated. It's going to be well built up, but I do expect lots of uncomfortable moments for Australia. They, of course, could catch them on the counter. They, of course, could hold out for a draw. Like, there absolutely are ways for Australia to get through here. And I'm sure the whole of Australia are holding their breath that they can get this job done. So we've got kind of a tasty story, to be honest, kind of a tasty story for this this first round of games. And then, of course, things get even more tasty because later on today, we are going to be seeing if Argentina are going to be going through. Let's just have a quick look. I will jump in the chat in a second, but let's just have a look at the Argentina situation. So you can see Poland atop, Argentina are second, Saudi Arabia on the same number of points, and then you've got Mexico. So if Poland win and Saudi Arabia draw, Argentina are out. If Poland win and Saudi Arabia draw, Argentina are out. I think I'm right in saying that if Poland and Argentina draw and Saudi Arabia win, Argentina are out. Like, Argentina can draw, but if Mexico win, then it is going to be a case of goal difference. It's going to be like, how many did Mexico win by? So Argentina, really, to be comfortable, need to make sure that they're getting a win. Mexico really could do with goals. Like, Mexico could do with winning that game, and they could do with winning it by a nice margin. Saudi Arabia could do with winning that game. Doesn't need to be a wide margin in all fairness, but if they can score more than what Argentina can, that could be a difference maker, actually. Because looking at it, Argentina are +1 and Saudi Arabia are -1, and they're both on the same points. So if Argentina win and if Saudi Arabia win, it would be both of those teams that go through, but it would be goal difference that would decide who would be top. So then it would come down to like who scores more goals. So there's lots of really interesting repercussions in that group. We could see Argentina go through. We could see Argentina go home. We could see Argentina top the group. So it's going to be very interesting. What you don't want in this group is you don't want Argentina finishing top if you're American, because whoever finishes top in this group, they go on the American side of the draw. Whoever finishes second, they go on England's side of the draw. I think whoever finishes second here will go on to play France. So whoever finishes second will go on to play France. So at the moment, if it was to finish as it is, it would be France versus Argentina in the next round. And the winner of that would play the winner of England and Senegal. So you can see the draw not being very favourable to England at the moment. But as we said, let's see how this plays out. Do you remember Zero News website? Do you trust anything they say about WWE? I was warned about them by Sean Ross Sapp. He So I did a video about Bray coming back to WWE, and there was two reports. One was from Sean, and the other was from Slice Wrestling. Now I don't know anything about Slice Wrestling, right? But we did a live stream ages ago. Some of you might have been on it, where we were waiting for this Sean report to drop, and we were waiting for it to come through. And whilst we were waiting, I said, "Let's have a look at this Slice report." And I was very clear in the video. The video is still up, right? You can still check it out. I said, let's have a look at this Slice report, see what they're saying. I don't know anything about them. Take it with a pinch of salt. Like, I really don't know if you can trust this, but let's read this whilst we're waiting for the Sean Ross Sapp report, the Fightful report. So I read the Slice report, and that report was things like Bray has already signed, which actually turns out to be true, right? So Bray had already signed. They did go into a bit more detail, saying stuff like he has been guaranteed big main event matches. He's had a good increase in pay. He's going to have a degree of creative control. Like, there was lots of things that they listed as to what he was going to be getting. And as we said, take it with a pinch of salt. We don't know if it's true. Obviously, now we know that he has come back, and it seems like he does have some creative control. But I still don't know if they knew that and if that report was true, right? So anyway, I sent a message out saying, guys, come and join the live stream. We're going to be discussing latest reports from Slice Wrestling and Sean Ross Sapp, right? Fightful. Sean got in touch with me. He sent me a DM. It's the only time he's ever spoke to me. But he sent me a DM, and he said, I think publicly he said he didn't appreciate being associated with Slice, right? Which I must admit, I don't really... I do see his point on it, but I wasn't comparing him to Slice. I mean, I was doing a video where I was looking at their report and his report. I wasn't saying they're the same. I wasn't, like, comparing them or anything. But he must have read it that I was. He must have read it that I was saying maybe the same report has come from both people, but they were different reports. That's messy, whatever, right? So he said like something like he didn't appreciate like being compared to them. I wasn't too fussed by that because, to be perfectly truthful, I wasn't comparing them. But he got in touch with me as a DM as well, and he was like, just so you know, Slice Wrestling can't be trusted. And I was like, okay, sorry for any confusion. Like, but I don't know Slice. I don't know anything about them. And he was like, no, it's fine. He was pretty cool in the DMs. He was like, no, it's fine. But just so you know, there's loads of like sources out there you can't trust. And he said this XC on News is another one not to be trusted. And I didn't even ask. I didn't even say anything. I was like, okay, fine. He just started telling me about a few like sources that you shouldn't really be trusting. So, I mean, like, I thought it was pretty cool that, like, he's obviously a busy guy. It was kind of pretty cool. He hit me up in the DMs. Bit of a shame that there was some sort of confusion there, which, as I said, I still don't quite know what that was about or how that was read or how that came across. But, yeah, he obviously got some sort of confusion from it. But, I apologize for the confusion because, I got no issue with Sean Ross Sapp. I think he's a really cool guy, so I don't have any issue with him at all. And we all moved on with our lives. But he told me about that X-Series on News and how it shouldn't be trusted. The only thing I will say in credit to them is that they have come out with a few things that have seemingly proven to be true. They have come out with a few things and typed a few things and tweeted out a few things that you can look at and go, yeah, that's actually true. I did hear, though, I can't remember who it was, but someone else got in touch with me and said the reason why it's true is because they're stealing that news from other sources. So I suppose the answer is I don't know. I don't know if I trust them. I mean, the sources that I would like go, guys, this is a good story. This is worth knowing about is Sean, Dave, and Wrestle Votes. Like, that's about it. Anything outside of that, like, we would give it a passing glance, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it. I wouldn't be like, do you know what I mean? Going big. Unless it's like some of that's like being picked up by those guys as well. So, Yeah, it's. I know of them. I think they've definitely got some stuff right, but I have no idea whether you can trust them or not. I seriously don't know. Cristiano Ronaldo has been offered a contract with Al Nasser from Saudi Arabia for 200 million a year. That's big, isn't it? That's big. Hi, Faruka. I have seen that report as well, says Faruka. Frankie said, I've got 50 on Poland and Saudi Arabia to win. Okay. You'll get a fair bit back for that. I don't think people are expecting Argentina to crash out. I mean, obviously they had the shock result against Saudi Arabia. I think people are expecting them to bounce back here. So that would be quite the surprise if they were to go out. So, yeah, I'd imagine you'd pick up a nice little payday then if that was going to be the case. I would imagine you'd have a nice little payday if that comes through for you. So, fingers crossed it does. Fingers crossed you do get that. I mean, I suppose really today is a bit of a chilled day for me. I've always said I always look at these things through a lens of how does this affect England. So for me, I do not want France to finish top, but there's no way I can avoid that now. It's happening. France are going on England's side of the draw. So it is what it is, you know. Going to have to deal with it. Going to have to put on my big boy pants and start preparing for a potential England France quarterfinal if we get past Senegal. And then it makes me think, well, who do I want France to play? I mean, do I want them to play Poland? I mean, I feel like that would be a win for France. Or do I want it to be tricky for France and I want them to play Argentina? But then, that means England are definitely facing a big, big team. If it's France-Poland, then it's going to be a case that, I've got a chance that it might be Poland. There's a chance that it could be a smaller team. I suppose I'll be rooting for Poland. I'll be rooting for Australia, and I'll be rooting for Poland. But the problem is Poland look like they'll probably just go on to face France and get eliminated anyway. So it's one of those. It's a bit of a weird day today for me as an England fan. I suppose just celebrate the fact we're through. It's coming home, sing that a little bit, and not really focus on anything else. You kind of have to get to the point where you're just not scared of anyone. Like, I'm not scared of France, but it's a team that you can definitely look at and go, yeah, they could eliminate us. They could knock us out. Yeah, I mean, Senegal could be that team as well, but I feel pretty good going up against Senegal, and certainly a Senegal without Sadio Mane. I look at the Polish team and I'm like, wow, if you can get to a quarterfinal of a World Cup and you have to face Poland, you would take that all day long. You would take that all day long. And I haven't looked as far as the semi-finals. It's probably wrong to look as far as the quarterfinals, but I think that's only natural, really, to just have a look and see what might be coming. Obviously, we'll have a great idea by the end of the day, by the end of the week, as to how the whole knockout phase is going to look. So if I get chance, I might even do a prediction video if I get chance, where we actually look at the bracket, predict how the World Cup's going to go. My pick to win is still Brazil, but yeah, that could be kind of interesting once we've got visibility on everything. Is Mbappe playing today? He isn't. No, there is no Mbappe today. Mbappe is on the bench. That is heartbreaking for you, me, and everyone that's involved. My heart is broken because I don't have loads of spare players on the bench, and there's no Hernandez, there's no Rabiot, there's no Mbappe. I'm already consigned to the fact that I will not be fielding a full 11 in the fantasy game this week. So, and honestly, I think there's probably a few people in that boat. So I suppose you've just got to hope that they would have been players that would have picked you up a point or two, and that'll be that. So no Mbappe starting. It's the team that we've got in the bottom right corner, if you can make it out. Cristiano Ronaldo now wants to focus with the World Cup. He will consider European clubs and will negotiate with new clubs after the World Cup, saying his agent, that's a report, by Fabrizio Romano. Not going to lie, I could see England struggle against Senegal, says Hamid. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be straightforward by any means. I mean, Senegal are the African champions, and they're going to be a problem for anyone. You know, at the back, they've got the likes of Koulibaly, for example. They've got some real good players all throughout that side. But that bit of magic that Mane gives them, that's that world-class player. I mean, I think he was second, was he, in the Ballon d'Or? Like, he is a big miss for them. And I think England are going to, wow, they're going to need every drop of energy they've got. I mean, the problem is that Senegal are such a physical, fit team. They're going to run you ragged. They are going to absolutely run you ragged. England might be left in absolute tatters for the France game. Like, it could be a bit of a problem, and certainly when you add in the heat. So, yeah, Senegal are an issue. But, I mean, my opinion on it is that if you can't beat Senegal, and a Senegal without Sadio Mane, and this version of Senegal as well, you know, it's no disrespect to Senegal, but, you know, Senegal right now are not in the top 10, I don't believe. I believe they're somewhere in the top 20, but they're not in the top 10 nations in the world. So if you're one of the favourites for the World Cup and you can't beat Senegal, then, well, you deserve to go home, don't you? You deserve to go home. That was my feelings. Exactly the same when we had Iceland. You know, in 2016, we had Iceland in the next round, and you looked at that and went, well, that's a win. And then we ended up going home to Iceland, and there was a big kind of investigation into that. That was a massive incident that resulted in England getting a new manager. That manager, I believe, was Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce then was caught with some kind of scandal. He ended up going. Then we had no one to turn to, so we promoted Gareth Southgate from the under-21s. And, well, I mean, that's it. We've been running with him since, I want to say, 2016. So it's been about 6 years that Gareth has been the England manager, which is quite a chunk of time when you think about it. But, yeah, he's obviously a polarizing figure, Gareth Southgate. He's someone that people love and others love to hate. I love him. I'm a big supporter of Gareth Southgate. I think he's great. I don't think he's perfect, and there are better managers out there. I would imagine even Gareth would admit that, but he brings a lot of strengths to the job. He is someone that has got a lot out of these players. He's someone that's achieved great things with England. And let's see what tricks he's got up his sleeve. Let's see what he can do against Senegal, because I think we will have a team out there that is going to be competitive, a team that's going to have fight, a team certainly that's going to have skill, a team that's going to have some interesting weapons. I'm really interested to know how we're going to deal with Senegal. They will be a team that we will have well scouted. They'll be a team that we'll have like lots of information on. It's going to be a good game. That game on Sunday is going to be really, really interesting. How do England deal with the threat of Senegal? I can't wait to find out. I mean, the only thing I would say is that Netherlands dealt with them, and I don't think Netherlands are much better than England. I don't think Netherlands are better than England at all. So if Netherlands were able to deal with Senegal, then I've got optimism and hope that England can find a way as well. I saw an article by Zero News that Roman will lose both titles at Mania. WWE title night 1 and Universal title night 2. I don't know if that's true. That's why I asked. I don't know either. I mean, it's interesting. It's worth mentioning. It's worth noting. It's worth storing in the memory bank. But you know what it's like. Like, if that doesn't happen, then of course things have changed, plans change, blah blah blah. So it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, could that happen? Sure. It's not what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting that, but equally, if they have genuinely heard that, then it's worth knowing, isn't it? Danilo said other sides will have Brazil, Spain, Netherlands, not much better than France. Also, probably Germany on the England side too. Beside France, you cannot escape big names. Yeah. Also, I'll say is that I would much rather be on this side with the likes of, I think it's Portugal and Germany and France. I'd rather be on that side than the other side, which looks likely to have Brazil, Spain, Argentina. Like, I sort of feel like the teams that are on England's side are teams that are either just below England in the, favourites list, or in France's case, like one place above or a couple of places above. Like, France is the problem, definitely. France is the problem. But then on the other side, you've got the out and out favourites in Brazil, and you've got Spain, who might just be the best looking team at the tournament. I know they only drew 1-1 with Germany, but they are a team that just are always in control and always looking good. And, when they bought on Morata, obviously they got their goal. They got 7 as well, which was quite the statement. 7-0. So not only did they score 7, they didn't concede any in that game as well against Costa Rica. So I think that avoiding Brazil, avoiding Spain, dare I say even avoiding Argentina, because Argentina can wake up, and Argentina have got weapons that can hurt you. So I think avoiding those is obviously something that England will want to try and do and have sort of done. But as you rightfully said, there is no way to avoid all the big teams. So it's hard, isn't it? It's just a case of, I think, take it a game at a time. I think you can get into your own heads and get yourself lost. Like, rather than worrying about what's down the road for England, if it has to be France, Brazil, Spain, if that's the route England had to take to win the World Cup, then so be it. There's nothing you can do about it. That's the route. And so how are you going to win those games? Now you've got to prepare for each of those games. I suppose the problem that England got is that they are going to run the risk of... Gareth is going to run the risk of playing the same 11. And my concern is... and this might be the same with the US as well. My concern is that we are going to get knackered. I really think that we will get past Senegal, but I also think they're going to run us ragged. And I also think we're going to be shattered. And I can see the players lying on the ground after the game looking like a shell of their former selves. And the concern will be, oh, brilliant, France next. How we've got a few days, and now we've got to put in that same effort and, maybe more to match France. How the flip are we going to do that? So, and if you do turn to your squad, that's such a gamble. So, I mean, England have got a great squad, of course they do, but it is a gamble to leave certain players out. How would you ever drop Harry Kane? How would you ever drop Bellingham now? You can't drop Shaw. Shaw's our only left back. If you do, then you've got to put Trippier there, who's not a left back, or Saka, who is not really a left back, is a utility player, but he tends to play more on the right side of an attack now. So, yeah, I'm a bit worried about the freshness of the team. I'm a little bit worried about the players being able to. They'll want to play, of course they will, but can they get through 4 intense games, and maybe some games as well that are going to go 120 minutes. There's no guarantee that these games are only 90 minutes long. There's every chance that you're going to have to put in a massive effort for 120 minutes and then take penalties. So it's, there's no easy way. You're absolutely right. You have to just take it one step at a time. For me, when it comes to a knockout round, the team will be different tactically, because either win or go home. The mentality will be different that day. There's a report by Dave saying that there has been a significant push by personnel in WWE to have Ripley versus Bianca at Mania. I can believe that. I think that match makes a lot of sense. I think it's that or it's Charlotte. It's one of those two that you do at Mania. So, yeah, I can believe that. When you're trying to avoid top teams, look at other tournaments. People said you had easy paths and lost to Croatia, and Italy can shut them up by beating them if you are so good, says Hasib. Yeah, that is true. The only thing is, in regards to that, is I've never actually sat down and looked at the path of the winners. So that's something that maybe I should do. I should go back and have a look at the previous World Cups. And, it'd be a bit harder going back in the day because, of course, teams change. But I think we'll have a good idea about, since 2000, maybe 98, we'll have a good idea as to who was good and who wasn't very good at the time. And because I was there and I've watched those tournaments. Going back to like the 80s, the 70s, it might become a bit more sketchier. But you could certainly have a look at the path the winners took and see, has a winner ever been able to knock out Brazil, Spain, Italy, and then get to a final and win against Germany? Like, maybe that's just too much of an ask. Maybe that's just too much for any team. Like, the effort involved to beat 4 top sides to get to a World Cup final like that might be too great for anyone. So this is why when you look at the draw, you obviously want to avoid the big teams. Now, yeah, look, playing France in a one-off game, I don't mind that. I mean, I'd rather we didn't. But if we come through that, no one can say that England are not a credible side. Then, if you can beat this French team with Mbappe, then, no one can say they're not a credible team. You will still have people going, yeah, but they don't have Pogba, they didn't have Kante, they didn't have Benzema. Like, that will still happen. That will still happen, right? So, if England win, I've no doubt that would be the conversation, that, there'd be a chunk of people saying that. But for me, it would be undeniable that England have beaten a top team and one of the favourites to win this tournament, and a team that have looked really good in the group stage so far as well. So, that is a one-off game, sure. But you don't want to be then having to face another massive nation in the semi-final. You've got a big nation in the final. There's no way of avoiding a big nation in the final. Although saying that, France did play Croatia, and I'm not sure that you would class them as a massive nation, to be honest. But they did have to play them in the final in 2018. So who knows? I mean, even in the knockout rounds, there are plenty of shocks and surprises. There's plenty of teams, like we saw with Switzerland and France in the Euros, that can take teams to penalties and then knock them out on penalties. Like, that happens all the time. So it's one of them, isn't it? Like, you're absolutely right in the sense of, like, anyone can knock you out. Anyone can knock you out. So, like, trying to avoid the big teams might just mean you end up getting knocked out by a smaller team anyway. So why worry about it? Why not just go up against a big team and prove that you are the best? And, if you're going to win the World Cup, win the World Cup. But as I said, I've never looked to see if it's like possible to, I'm sure it is possible, but how often do the winners have to do that? Here in England, we seem to have this fatuation. We seem to have this fatuation with the fact that we're not playing anyone of note. And, like, we're getting an easy draw. And certainly the draws have been favourable. But I really don't know, like, can you tell me how France got to the final in 98 and won the World Cup in 98? Have you got any idea who they played? Do we know how favourable their draw was? Like, we haven't got a clue. We haven't got a clue. No one remembers those things. People just remember who won the trophy. Who won the trophy, that's it. Who was the winner in 98? You might remember who else got to the final. But unless you're like a diehard football fan or French football fan, you ain't going to remember who they played to get there. You're not going to remember who their round of 16 opponent is. You're not going to remember who they played in the quarterfinal. So it's kind of, it's weird that, like, in England, we, rather than celebrate the fact the team get to a certain level and a certain point, like the final of the Euros and the semi-final of the last World Cup, and now here we are in the round of 16, like, rather than celebrate where they reached, there is always this cloud of, like, yeah, but they didn't play anyone. They didn't play anyone. Okay, tell me, who did France play in 98? Tell me, who was the Germans playing when they got to the final and won in, 2014? Like, who was it, like, that these teams played? It's, I always find that a very interesting conversation. I always find that an interesting conversation. But as I say, like, anyone can knock you out. And you're not going to avoid all the big nations. Even if England had got through to the final, they would have had to have played France in 2018, and they were the eventual winners. So you're never going to avoid like all the big nations. But it's just, I think, can we avoid big nation, big nation, big nation, big nation? That's the goal. FIFA have confirmed that there's 3 female referees for Costa Rica versus Germany tomorrow. That is the first time it has happened in the men's game, says Adam. Adam, shout out to you. Good knowledge. Danilo said Germany 2014 beat Portugal, France, Brazil, and Argentina. That's a good run in all fairness. Easy99 said, for me, Senegal is a different team to break down. Even without Mane, there are players that can play that role. Sarr is playing that role. He will be dangerous threat to England. I agree. I agree. No one's saying that Senegal will not be difficult. No one's saying that they're not going to be a challenge. But I do look at some of their results in their group, and it doesn't fill me with fear. Like, they are the African champions. They are an amazing side. But as we just said, when you get to this level, are you going to be able to beat, or are you going to be able to avoid like a France or a Spain or someone like that in the next round? Like, imagine France tonight go through as group leaders. Their prize for winning their group might be to face Argentina. Like, I don't think they'll be doing cartwheels over that. So you have to look at like, okay, it's Senegal. This is how they've played in the group. This is where their like world rankings are. Like, I would take it. I would take it. I must admit, when we saw the draw and we saw like who we were potentially going to play, thought it would be Senegal, and even thought it was a Senegal with Mane, and thought that could have been worse, to be honest. That could have been worse. So, yeah, no one's going to say it's going to be easy, but if you're going to win the World Cup, those are the types of games that you've got to win. And just to flip it to the Netherlands, because I know there's going to be a lot of American people joining us, I really think you've got a great chance against the Netherlands as well. I have not been impressed with what I've seen from Group A. I have not been impressed with what I've seen from Group A. I think that Senegal, Ecuador are very physical. I think they're very athletic, but I've not been impressed with what I've seen from a standard-wise. So I think that Netherlands are there for the taking. You got to be at the top of your game. You're going to have to put in a hell of a performance. So you are going to have to be at the top of your game. But I think you can do it. I think the United States can get past Netherlands. And I think, obviously, we need to know what's happening with Pulisic because that's a concern. But I think they can do that. And I think England can get past Senegal. Real Talk said USA will beat England next time we play. Wes says, I'm 130th in the league with 93 points. That's not too bad. It's not bad when you think like the leader is 130 odd points. So, if you think about like it's just 1 or 2 points and then you can move up quite a chunk of places, it's not that bad at all. So, battling for every point we can at the moment. 4 years ago, I'm still in shock with Pavard's goal versus Argentina at the Russian World Cup, says Adam. If Tunisia beat France and Australia defeat Denmark, Australia will get out of the group first with France in second. If Tunisia beat France and Australia beat Denmark, that's not true because they would both be on. Well, it's true, but there'd have to be a hell of a lot of goals because at the moment France are +4 and Australia are -2. So that means that let's say Tunisia win by 2 goals, right? That would mean that France's goal difference goes down to +2. At the moment, it's +4, but it would go down to +2. Let's say Australia win by 2 goals. Their goal difference would go to 0. So that means France would finish top by 2 goals. So Australia are going to need to win by 3 or 4, and France would have to lose by 2 or 3. Like, not only is it a case that Australia have to win and France have to lose, it's going to need to be a case that's going to need to be a fair chunk of goals involved as well. A bit of subject, but how do you think Wonder Boy will perform? I'm worried he's leaving too much time between fights at this stage. Hope he looks sharp. I'm a bit worried about it, to be honest. I agree. I think a bit of inactivity. I think his recent showings have not looked great. He had a lovely little spell a few years ago where he was really looking like it was being put together and he looked like he was going to really get somewhere. But recent performances have just not been as strong. So I don't really have high hopes, to be honest. I don't have high hopes. I worry that his time might have passed him by. I think we might have run out of road. So I'm leaning towards it not going well for him this weekend. David said USA jerseys should have "It's called soccer" written on them, says David. Do you think Argentina will win tonight, says Tarek. Do I think Argentina will win tonight? I think that they will win, yes. I think that they had a slip-up against Saudi Arabia. I think they didn't look great against Mexico, but it was Mexico. And Mexico are a very proud footballing nation that were banged up for that fight. They knew they needed to win themselves. So, yeah, I think that we might just be starting to see Argentina starting to click into a bit of a gear here. Don't forget, this is an Argentina team that was unbeaten since 2019. Like, they were on one of the longest unbeaten streaks at the international level. And so they had been unbeaten since 2019. And they finally get to the World Cup. And then, boom, they lose to Saudi Arabia. It was maybe a bit of arrogance. Maybe they just didn't apply themselves, like didn't have the fight that was needed. Like, I genuinely don't know. But either way, they got caught. They responded against Mexico, thanks largely to Messi. And Poland are going to be a tricky opponent. They're going to be a tough team to beat, but they are a team that I could see them getting a result against as well. So, yeah, I'm going to say that Argentina win. I'm going to say that they do go through. I just don't know. Don't know if it's going to be first or if it's going to be second. If they win, I feel like it will likely be first, because I think I'm right in saying that Saudi Arabia would have to win, and they'd have to win by a good chunk of goals more. Like, if Argentina win by 1, I think Saudi Arabia have got to win by about 4 or something to pip them, because it does come down to goal difference. If you level on points, then it comes down to the goal difference. Coverage is beginning on BBC 2. So we have got 10 minutes to go, and then we will be going over to the games today. So this is the early games. This is, wow, I mean, this is interesting. Of course, it is Australia, and Denmark is quite gripping. But I don't know. I feel like today the story is more about Argentina. Are they going to go through? Are they going to go out? Are they going to top the group? Can they beat Poland? That feels like the story today. That feels like where the eyes of the world are going to be. But yeah, right now, Australia, Denmark is very much the focus of the World Cup. As we said, France largely already through as winners. Rest with Andy said, what's your favourite football film? I used to love Football Factory. It's a good film. Football film. Do you know what? It's going to be... It is going to be... I'm trying to think if there's one other than Bend It Like Beckham that I would say. Bend It Like Beckham was just a fun family film. Just that was a film that I enjoyed. It was just a family film, very similar to like East is East type of a vibe, which I thought was a great film as well. I'm trying to think if there's... I mean, Escape to Victory is obviously cool, and Football Factory is obviously cool. I've only ever seen bits of Green Street, so I can't say I've ever really sat down and watched that from like start to finish, but I've seen, like, when it's been on TV, caught the odd little bit of it. I feel like there might be something that's super obvious that I'm really forgetting, and I'll go, no, damn, it is that. It is that. But I can't... Doesn't come to mind. I think I might have to go with Bend It Like Beckham, you know. So it was a fun film. I mean, I don't know when you say that it's the coolest thing in the world to say. But I do like those kind of family comedies, easy to watch. Just, give you a bit of a laugh. Got a bit of a nice message to it as well. But, like, it's just a fun watch and there's some good comedy in there. And I'd probably go with that. But I feel like there's something super obvious I'm forgetting. And I'll go, damn, yeah, you're right. That is the best. So if you can think of one, feel free to let us know. I agree with Wonderboy. It is a big shame. He is a great man, says Louis. Yeah. If you're going to do Fury Chisora, does that mean you'll miss the second last 16 game? No. Which starts at 7. Fury Undercard starts at 6. No. We're doing the last of 16 game. We won't be doing the Fury Chisora undercards. I think by the time the last 16 game finishes at 9 o'clock, and they said that Fury Chisora are expected to ring walk at 10. So that means we can get over to that, have an hour of Fury and Chisora before they even come out, and then they do the fight. So we will be able to watch that fight, and we will be able to watch maybe the co-main there as well. But the rest of the undercard we will miss. So shame that there's not much distance or not more distance between the second round of 16 game and Fury Chisora. But I must admit, I don't know how crazy or how into Fury Chisora people really are. I've not seen much buzz around it at all. So I suppose in a way I'm grateful it's not Fury Joshua like it was meant to be. Because if it had been Fury Joshua, there would have been a lot of hype around it, a lot of buzz around it. And it would have been a real difficult decision as to, do you do the last 16 game, the second one or not? And I actually don't even know what that game is. So, yeah, this way we can do both. I'm quite happy about it. Every 2 years would be brutal on stadium expenses, just upgrades and construction. Senegal have fast wingers on both sides. Koulibaly is top-tier defender and big tank brick that Kane needs to face. And if Mendy plays like he did with Chelsea last season, England will be in danger. Did you see the stat for BBC One and ITV with England's win percentage 76% for BBC One and 16% for ITV? Fun. Doesn't mean anything. I don't read anything into that. It's fun stat. Interesting that's happened, but I'm not the kind of person that would be like, oh my god, we're on ITV, we're going to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a superstitious person. That doesn't really resonate with me. But a fun fact, or not a fact. Well, it is a fact, I suppose. Stat. Right, we've got Australia and Denmark making their way out. We've got France and Tunisia coming out as well. Remember the Titans is a good movie, says Wes. Yeah, that's American football, isn't it? Yeah, there's some really good like American sports films. Fields of Dreams was amazing as well. Love that film. Fields of Dreams is fantastic. Obviously, the Mighty Ducks. Obviously, Cool Runnings. As you said, Remember the Titans as well. I've never seen Blindside. But that was meant to be decent. Jerry Maguire's sort of sports themed as well. So you've got that, of course, Rocky. Jeez. Maybe the greatest sports film ever. So, yeah, but like soccer films, football films. I feel like there's been a lot, because obviously it's a very popular subject. Do you know what? It might be worth, whilst they're just doing the national anthems, I might just have a look and see if there's a list of the best. Let's have a look. Best soccer films and just see what... I might come back with documentaries. 50 best soccer movies. Pele, Birth of a Legend. Never seen it. The Third Half. The Damned United. United. The Story of the Busby Babes. Oh man, there's loads. Goal. I've never seen the Goal films. Ronaldo, Zidane. Oh man, there's one on Stoichkov, you know. I didn't know they'd done one on Stoichkov. This film is about the phenomenal sports career and the tempestuous life of the most famous Bulgarian worldwide, It is a dramatic documentary. Stoichkov. Bobby. She's the Man. Football Factory. The class of 92. That's in that. But Kicking and Screaming. Do you remember that? Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell, where he's in charge of like a youth football side. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I'm looking at some of these and they are not brilliant. Mean Machine. Maradona, Football Factory, Escape to Victory, Mean Machine, Looking for Eric, The Damned United, Mike Bassett, England manager. That's the one. Do you remember that? Mike Bassett, England manager. That was so good. That was so good. So he is a foul-mouthed lower league coach who finds himself in England's top job. Comedy of error ensues. There is redemption at the end. England do not win the World Cup, but a respectable defeat to Brazil in the semi-final restores Bassett's reputation. The manager comes home with his head held high, and it changes his previous decision to resign in favour of staying with the Three Lions. Yeah, that was class. The Goal Trilogy, it says here, the 300-minute marathon could well be dubbed the Lord of Rings of professional football. Mike Bassett. Field of Dreams is real. It's based in Iowa, and the MLB have gone there recently. Isn't it about angels playing baseball? Isn't that what the film's about? Isn't that the one with... is it? Am I right? There's one about angels, isn't there? I mean, I don't think that's real. Senegal has got fast wingers on both sides. Oh, I read that. Easy 99. Rage Kid said, I'm going to watch the Australia-Denmark game. France game is useless with a B team. We're watching both. Right, who do you think will progress? Let's have a look at the poll. So we have got 50. Oh my God, look how close that is. 51% of people think Australia are going to go through. 49% of people think that Denmark are going to go through. So really, really close. Look at Victory with Pele and Sly Stallone, says A. Charles. Yeah, I think that is Escape to Victory, isn't it? I think it just had a different name. So I think was Escape to Victory renamed Victory? I've got a feeling it was. Let's click on it. Yeah. So I don't know why they changed it. But Victory is we know it as Escape to Victory, but it had a different name. It's a bit like the Mega Drive and Genesis. The Mega Drive and Genesis in the Sega consoles. We called it the Mega Drive. You called it Genesis. I read that one, easy 99. Bloodsport was a good movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, fighting movie. I've seen Bloodsport. I've not seen all of it, but a friend had it, and I went round, and I mean, like, we had it on, but we were like chatting, and so I sort of have seen it, but I really need to sit down and watch it again, to be honest. But yeah, classic. You're absolutely right. Classic sports film. Good shout. Right, here we go. About to get underway. First half. 3, 2, 1. Right, we are underway. Denmark kicks us off. They are going from right to left. Australia going from left to right. And this is the first game of the day. So, obviously, Argentina playing later. As we said, we've got this winner goes through game here. And there's nothing between France and Tunisia to really get your teeth into. But they've even rested a load of names and a load of stars, which is sort of interesting. But it'll still be interesting to see like what the score is there. Ball being played forwards. And Denmark are pushing already, edge of the area, picking it up on the left-hand side, but that ball going out of play. Some lovely images of the stadiums. Lovely aerial shot there of the stadiums. We obviously remember what these feelings are like. Are you going through? Are you going through in first place? That's what USA and England were feeling, and Wales and Iran, of course, got our answers there. But now it's the time of Australia and Denmark to have those feelings. Easy said in Malaysia, we have one great football movie. It's called Ola Bola. The story is about the hard path of the Malaysian national team on the road to finally get to the Olympics. That sounds good. Ola Boa. Not heard of that. But sounds good. Sounds like a good subject. I love those kind of overcoming the odds type films. There was a really good movie as well. It's like a documentary on the Afghanistan cricket team that I saw. And it was all about like how, you know, Afghanistan, war-torn, and they put together a cricket side, and it was about them like trying to establish themselves, and that was similar about like, you know, them overcoming the odds to like achieve something and actually get somewhere. I can't remember if they managed to qualify for the World Cup or if they just fell short, but it was good. It was a really good film, really insightful. Here's Australia, edge of the area, bit of space, shot, bounces. Yeah, I think he might have hit his own Australian player, unfortunately. So McCree takes a shot for Australia, but I think it bounced off his own player. Look at him, gritted teeth. Nice. Right, it's going to be a throw-in for Australia over on the far side into the centre. Good tackle there by Denmark. Denmark going down the right, charging forwards. Battling away. Denmark know they have got to win this game. Denmark know they have got to win this game. There's a yellow card being shown already. We're only 3 minutes in. So a yellow card has been shown. So that's a yellow card to the Australian player. My phone stand still hasn't arrived, unfortunately, but doesn't matter. We don't really need it. We'll keep an eye on the Tunisia France game. But obviously Denmark with a free kick. So Eriksson standing over the ball. Here we go, looking to whip it in. Headed clear by Australia. Up in the air. Ball going away. Australia trying to break, but Netherlands. Denmark trying to keep the pressure on. Have you been to Benidorm? Have I been to Benidorm? No. There is a comedy program in the UK called Benidorm, which has finished now, but it had about 10 series or something. Used to really enjoy watching that. Used to sit down every week to watch that. That was a program that I thought was easy to watch, you know, easy to watch, family sort of comedy thing, which I thought was pretty decent. I thought for what it was pretty funny. But as I said, like, they don't make that anymore. But it's but I've never been to Benidorm. It's certainly where a lot of British people go, though. Hence why they did a comedy show about it. Britons abroad in Benidorm. Denmark trying to play the ball into the centre, but no joy. And it actually bounces away for a goal kick. So it's going to be a goal kick. Ball being launched forwards and goes out. It's about Malaysia finally going to the Olympics in 1980. Malaysian football also qualified in 84, but doesn't go because of protests against the Soviet Union in Russia. Sounds interesting. As I said, it reminds me a lot of that Afghanistan story. I think, like, any of those sports teams that kind of really have to dig deep and they're the underdogs, but they manage to achieve something like that. Really good. I stayed in a hotel for a week this summer, Sol Pelicanos Hotel, and the club they filmed is, pretty close to it. Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool. I mean, they should totally open up like some of those. If they don't have like the club in real life, because that was probably filmed in a studio, they should totally make it. Because people from the UK would have gone and visited and had their pictures taken in. I can't remember what the bar was called now, Nelson's Bar or something. But yeah, they totally should do that. I mean, the great thing about Benidorm, it might not be the case now, obviously, what with cost of living and everything, but the great thing about Benidorm is it's hot. It's always been seen as quite cheap to get to. And, like, you know, you get a bang for your money, man. I mean, like, you know, you don't have to spend loads on beer, but because the beer's relatively cheap. It's like cheap beer, cheap foods, just a great time. Do you know what I mean? Like, your money will go a lot further there. It's like lovely weather. You've got everything. What do you need? What else do you need? I've never done it, but I would be seriously tempted to go. I've never actually looked to see how much it would cost for, like, you know, a week or so in Benidorm. But I would totally do it. Totally do it. And there's loads of like British places to go. Loads of places to eat, and, you know, British pubs and fish and chip shops. Like, it's like a little Britain. A mini Britain has took over like this sunny part of Spain. Ball going over to the left-hand side, but runs out of play. The Malaysian football team back then is top team in Asia. Oh, okay. This is annoying, isn't it? Let's hide them on the channel. Right, ball being thrown in, going down the line. Is that still not removed it? Has that removed it? Oh, that's a different one. I've got to remove that one as well. Jeez, watch FIFA World Cup, you're annoying. Benidorm is basically England 2. Richard said Tunisia. Okay, well, we've got this like 30-second delay. At the moment, it's 0-0. Let's have a little look here. There's enough people telling me Tunisia, but I don't have it yet. Ball down the line. Here's Tunisia. Turn. Going down the left-hand side. Running. Battling. Going down. That's a free kick. He was trying to get past Chouamini. Chouamini then fouling. So looks like it's going to be a free kick to Tunisia. Tunisia aren't actually playing for anything here. Here's Australia. Because are they out? Can they go through Tunisia? I suppose they could go through, couldn't they? Let's have a look. Because I don't think that's updated if they have scored on screen. If they have scored, then they'd be on 4 points, wouldn't they? Would they be going through? Right, ball coming in, and there it is. It is in by Tunisia. So it's in from the free kick. Do I need to update this? Let's have a look and see if this needs to be updated. We have had a goal. Let's refresh this and see if it's just got stuck or something. Oh, have they called it off? Ah, offside. That stings. That stings. Ball's whipped in. He clips it. It's a lovely little finish. Shot block there for Denmark. That stings. No wonder it didn't update. Here's Australia on the left-hand side, trying to play it in the middle, but headed clear by Denmark. I tell you what, we've got some spicy stuff happening in both games right now. Looks like it's just took about a minute for the games to wake up, but we're underway. Tunisia scoring, but it's ruled as offside. And now we've got Australia and Denmark both breaking. and trying to create some chances. Good morning, Days. What does USA have to do to beat the Netherlands? Said Ryan Gambler. Hang on, here's Denmark's shot. Save! Good save by the Australian keeper. What do they have to do? They have to do exactly what they did against England. I mean, I don't think you're going to go toe to toe with them and be able to match them player for player quality wise. You know, they've got a wonderful midfielder in Frankie De Jong. They've got a wonderful finisher in Gakpo. In defense, they've got Virgil van Dijk. I mean, next to him, he's got like Ake, Timber. You know, there's some players there. Klassen has actually managed to pop up with a fair few assists as well. So he is someone that's always getting the balls into the right areas. So they're a tough team. I think that you can beat them, though, because the performance the United States put in against England, I thought was so impressive. It's going to take that level of performance, though. You need to not give them time on the ball, close them down, constantly be pressuring them, smother them like you did England. You absolutely smothered England. Every time Bellingham had the ball, there was 2 American players on him. Harry Kane had the ball, there was 2 American players on him. Anytime we had the ball, there was an American player right there. You were just constantly in our faces, constantly making us like play the ball quickly. Sometimes we played the ball, it didn't quite reach its destination, or it bounced off a player, and we just could not get into a rhythm. We just could not get into our game because you didn't allow us to get into our game. I thought you played fantastic. I thought you played really, really well. Sometimes teams just don't do that level of work, and what they do is they rely on the brilliance of their individuals to create a moment, you know? Like, you know, there'll be something that will happen that, you know, a little run, or they'll beat a player and it'll create that space and that can lead to a goal. United States weren't doing that. United States were bullying, harassing, closing down, pressuring, fighting. It was a real team effort. It was, I thought, a really impressive performance. I was so impressed with USA against England. England just could not get going. USA didn't get the credit for that in this country, of course. The credit or the moaning was with England not being good enough, not putting in a better performance, which they should have. They should have had an answer. They should have found a way past what America was doing. I don't dispute that, but I thought it was a very good performance by the USA. Shot goes over by Denmark. So I think you need to look to do that again. You need to put them under pressure, and I think you stand a great chance if you can do it. If you can do it, I think you stand a great chance, because I was not that impressed with Netherlands in the group stages. The only problem is, if they get a chance, if they get a sniff on goal, then they've got the players that can hurt you. They've got the players that can score. Gakpo, as we said, is joint top goal scorer at the moment in the tournament. He's got 3 goals. So they've definitely got the players that can cause damage. Ball going back to the Australian keeper, launching it over to the right-hand side, down the line. At the moment, we are seeing 71% possession for Denmark. Denmark are enjoying more possession. They are also creating more shots, not many. 2 shots, 1 on target. Australia, 29% of the ball, 1 shot, none on target. Days, what has been your favourite game? Favourite game. I don't know, my mind always goes back to Japan and Germany. My mind always goes back to that. I really, really enjoyed that game. Really enjoyed Japan-Germany. Had a nice energy to it, and even though there was only like 3 goals, we got a bit of an upset. I think Germany took the lead and Japan came back with 2 goals and ended up winning. Some lovely goals, lovely finishes. But it was a real battle, and sometimes you can watch games and honestly, I mean, I remember watching Spain 7-0. It was boring. It doesn't sound boring, but it was boring because like Spain had the ball, they were passing it around and they were just probing and looking and trying to find a way of scoring. And they did score 7, and the goals were all right. Some were pretty good, and Costa Rica were just awful. I mean, it was just not a fun battle in any way. It was just really, it became how many are they going to get? That's what that game became. Whereas Germany and Japan was like really good back and forth, and there was like real good battles in there as well. I really enjoyed that game. I really enjoyed that game. I didn't get to see the Saudi Arabia win off Argentina because I was actually asleep. I was in bed. We never did that game because it was too early for us, so I never got a chance to see that. So maybe I would go with that one if I'd have seen it. But the one that comes to mind is, as I said, Germany and Japan. Feel free to let me know what your favourites is. Legend Killer said, come on, France. Ball goes out. Ball goes out. Aussie said, Smitster, hey, look, you're doing all right. Currently, you are going through after 16, 17 minutes. If this game was to end right now, you would be going through. And I want Australia to go through, believe it or not. I want Australia to go through. That might surprise people because obviously there is a very real, very intense sporting rivalry between England and Australia. But we have Australians that join us in the chat, and I think it'd be great for them, and it'd be great for soccer, football in Australia if they were to get through to the round of 16. So I hope you do it. Ball being headed forward, goes over to the right-hand side. Here is Denmark coming into the Australian half. Passing it back into the middle. So 16 minutes gone. 0-0 in both games. Down the line, down that right-hand side, into the centre. Oh, here come Australia. They're going to look to break. Ball coming over to the right. Australia picking it up into the middle. Ball bouncing around, but well defended. Well defended. Good work. Good work by Denmark, getting bodies in the way. Days, the movie Field of Dreams does have angels, but the real Field of Dreams has a cornfield just behind. Smitster said, my favourite game was Serbia and Cameroon. Let's go Tunisia and Australia, said Zakaria. Here we go. We've got Denmark in the middle, pulling it back. Oh! It's bouncing all over the place. That got caught in the legs of the Australian keeper, Matt Ryan. It kind of came off his knee, went to his ankle, shot back out into a real dangerous area, but they were able to get it clear. Ball going out. Looks like it's going to be a Denmark throw. Yes, they are playing for qualifying. Tunisia have a chance, says Rotem. Yeah, so if this is a draw, and Tunisia get a goal, that would give them 2 points. Tunisia would go through, wouldn't they? If this stays a draw and Tunisia win, they would go through. That's interesting. I thought they were out, to be honest. But there is a way for them to go through because if this is a draw, that means Australia are on 4 points. If Tunisia can score, they would then go to 4 points and their goal difference would be 0. So they would go through on goal difference. Just behind the outfield fence. Lol. Mbappe not in this match. No Mbappe. A lot of French players rested. This is to give the other players a run out, give the French players a rest. I mean, it makes sense. It's going to really help them, you would imagine, in the tournament to be able to do this. Okay, moving on the inside, playing the ball back. Ball going over to the right-hand side for Denmark, and good tackle in there by Australia. Bajic, I think, coming over. Bajic coming over, clearing the ball. Denmark putting the pressure on at the moment. So, quick corner by Denmark, looking to play it into the centre, back post, bouncing around, and Australia defending for their lives. But referee blows the whistle. And looks like there's maybe a bit of pushing and shoving or something that was in there. Let's have a little look. Doesn't really look like much in there, but either way, it's... what's happening? The referee coming over, speaking to the goalkeeper. Oh, like he's pointing to his watch. I think he's saying, come on, get on with this. So, goal kick for Australia. Well, everyone's got World Cups, haven't they? Like, keep seeing loads of people in the crowd with a World Cup. Ball being played forwards, goes over to the right-hand side. Australia looking to drive forward. Nice, edge of the area, takes the shots. Well, do you know what? He had players all around him, McCree. He had players all around him. And I don't know that he would have been able to have got much further. Could he have played an interesting ball to a teammate? Maybe, but he took a shot. It was on target. Schmeichel in goal, of course, going to be equal to that. Great goalkeeper. Ball is bouncing around. Referee blows his whistle. It's going to be a free kick to Denmark. My favourite game was Serbia against Cameroon. Joe said, don't give up, France. Tharuka said, Australia do have real chance. Dragon Slayer says, come on, Socceroos. Imagine the last few minutes if Tunisia were to get a winner, said Rage Kids. Scenes if that was to happen. I mean, that would be crazy. That would mean that Tunisia would go through to play the winner of whoever tops the group later. So it could be Poland, Tunisia, the winner going through to the quarterfinals. Could be Argentina, Tunisia, if that was to happen. Okay, ball is back. Being dinked forwards. Denmark. Oh, no joy. No joy. Picking it up on the right-hand side, though. France, the French game, just they've got in the midfield, the French team. Ball being played in the middle. Picked up by Denmark. It's just being passed around at the moment. Australia have got plenty of numbers back. Looks like they've got a 4-4-2 formation, but that's kind of more a back six at the moment. Here come Denmark. Nice tackle. Yeah, definitely wasn't going to get past that Australian player. So Australia picking up the ball, launching it down the line. Nicely intercepted by Denmark. They're in Australia's half. Edge of the area, playing it across. Bit of space. He thought about shooting. Nice one, too. Oh, Denmark managing to get into the penalty area. A shot is very, very tame there from Braithwaite. So, Olsen and Braithwaite linking up, but not the best. Not the best. Denmark have got Lindstrom, Braithwaite, and Olsen up front. In midfield, Eriksson, Højbjerg, and Jensen. And then at the back, they got Christensen, Anderson, Christensen, and Mailer with Schmeichel in goal. What time are you on at the Aussie game? 24:48. Don't forget that there is a slight distraction when it comes to YouTube. So there is a slight distraction. So I feel like this is going to be pretty good from like being close to being like live. The one that I've got on, so on TV, I've got 25:10 right now. Here I've got 23:28. So you can see that there is, I mean, that the French game might have kicked off a little bit behind the Australian-Denmark game, but there does seem to be quite a gap between the two games in regards to where they are time-wise. Do you agree that if the USA can just get the ball into the net, we would be scary? Said Dragon Slayer. I mean, you'd be scarier. You'd be scarier. I've got question marks about your defense. I think that you've probably got like one world class player in Pulisic. Tyler Adams, I think, has been brilliant in the middle of the park. Really, really like the look of him. I think you've got some good youngsters coming through. I think, though, if you had a number 9, if you had a goal scorer, then, yeah, you would be scarier, definitely. But I still think you're away behind the leading nations. I think you're still away behind the likes of Brazil and Argentina and France and those kinds of nations. I think you've done well to get out the group. I think that you're going to be a challenge for the Netherlands. But I think, sort of like a little bit like England, once you face a France, a Brazil, an Argentina, that's likely to be the end of your journey. And I don't know that would change if you had a number 9. I think I would still feel the same. Because when you're talking about that level, you're talking about world-class players all over the park. You're talking about in defense, in midfield, up front, like world-class players. They're dripping with world-class players. So... look at France, for example. France were at full strength. They'd have Mbappe, they'd have Benzema, they'd have Pogba, they'd have Varane, they would have Tchouameni, Camavinga, Griezmann. They would have Coman. They've just got so much talent. So yeah, you would be scarier. I would agree with that. But I still don't think it would make the biggest of differences. Certainly not when you come up against a France or a Brazil or an Argentina or a Spain. And unfortunately, that's the standard. That's where we're all trying to get to, is that standard. I feel like England are around there, sort of knocking on that door. I feel like we've got a good squad of players, a really good squad of players. Is it good enough to win this World Cup? I'm a very optimistic England fan, and I don't think so. I don't have England winning the World Cup. I don't even have England getting to the final. But I do think there's a chance they might get past France. Anything can happen in a one-off game, and we saw France go out to Switzerland. So, but I tell you what, I am very interested to see where the USA are going to be when it's the World Cup in 4 years' time. Very interested. Here's Denmark. Ball bouncing around in the Australian area. It's picked up by Eriksson. Takes the shot, drags it wide. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where the United States is going to be in 4 years' time, because obviously the World Cup is in Canada, USA, and Mexico. You have got one of the youngest squads at this World Cup, so they're only going to improve. And in the next 4 years, you're going to find more players. So you are going to be a hell of a tricky team. Hell of a tricky team in 4 years' time. You're a tricky team now. I was so impressed with your performance against England. I've got Australia beating Denmark, says Dante Drake. Smitster said, I think Denmark came into this tournament a little bit overrated. Yeah, I agree. They have picked up some great performances this year, though, and some great results. But what we've seen from them in the tournament, and you never quite know how a team is going to look until the tournament starts. What we've seen from them in the tournament has been very poor. It's been very poor. They've lost the spark. Whatever spark they had at the Euros, that teamwork, that togetherness, it's not there. It's gone. It's gone. I don't think there'd be too many people worried about playing this Denmark side. Almost half an hour gone, and Australia are doing what they need to do. Ball being played back. So 0-0 between France and Tunisia. 0-0 between Australia and Denmark. Ball being played forwards. Bounces off. And nice work by Australia. Why do people in England call it an English breakfast? Shouldn't you just call it breakfast? Well, it's called an English breakfast because breakfast is the meal you have at the start of the day. So if you're having breakfast... If you said, I'm having breakfast, and you said that to someone would say, "What are you having?" Oh, I'm going to have some breakfast. Oh, what are you going to have? So we call it English breakfast. If you say, "Oh, I'm going to have an English breakfast," everyone knows what you mean. I'm going to have an English breakfast. Are you? Oh, do us some as well, would you? Go on. Put a bit extra on, would you? Do us some. Bit of bacon, bit of sausage, bit of beans and all. Oh, yeah, do us some. Could go for that right now. Good start to the day. Get some fuel in the furnace. So that's why it's called an English breakfast and not just breakfast. Because if you said breakfast, people would be like, "Oh, what are you having? Gonna have some fruit and yogurt. Gonna have some cereal, are you?" Ball goes out, and it's going to be a throw-in. We need Dempsey back from retirement. Ah, Dempsey was fire. Yeah, he was brilliant. Boom. Days is looking for a nice way to say, "If it ain't England, I don't care," says AEW fan. No, I do care. I do care about the USA. We got a lot of people in our community that are from the USA, and a lot of people in our community that don't normally watch football, that are only watching because it's the World Cup. So I actually genuinely don't mind. I'm quite happy to talk about USA all day long, because I know that there's a lot of interest in it, and I think the USA is such an interesting footballing nation because they are the richest nation in the world. They love sports. For some reason, they just seem a little reluctant to soccer. Like, they've got their own sports, and they're very happy with them. Thank you very much, right? We don't need your sports. We've got our own. So if they were to take soccer, like, just that bit more serious, we know that they would be one of the great forces in the world. I mean, they would be one of the power nations. It would be Brazil and USA and Spain and France and England. Like, they would be absolutely in there. Not just, oh, are they going to qualify for the World Cup, but are they favourites? Like, they only need to put a bit more of their resource into it in order for that to be the case. And in a way, I sort of feel like the world is really grateful that they're not. Because if they ever do, you got to think that World Cups could go their way. They really could go their way. The women's team has shown that they can be world leaders when it comes to football and soccer. And of course, there's going to be catching up to do. Because like everyone's had like a big head start on them, but they will get there. I have no doubts about that they will get there. It's gonna happen. It's just when. And I need England to get some more World Cups before it does, to be honest. I hate when the full English is light on tomatoes, says Smitster. What's better, chips or French fries? I think it's hard because, like, sometimes you want chips, sometimes you want French fries. Like, if I was having fish and chips, I would want chips. I wouldn't want little French fries. Like, you want something that's a bit more hearty, something you can get your teeth into, something that's a bit more satisfying. The other thing as well is that people like putting, like, salt and vinegar on their chips. And, like, when you're putting vinegar on chips, like, and you've got, like, a nice chunky chip, like, it's just more satisfying when you've got like some vinegar and some salt on there. Like, when you've got it on like French fries, like they don't really hold vinegar that much. They'll hold like a bit of salt, of course. McDonald's just go crazy with the salt, don't they? But I sort of feel like French fries are pretty good on the go if you've just having to like grab a handful of something. They're pretty good on the go. I mean, they're perfect for like McDonald's, for example. But, like, I think if you're having a sit-down meal and you're having, like, fish and chips, then you've got to go for chips. It's got to be chips. I've never really thought about it, but, yeah, I think if you're having some sort of a sit-down meal, then you go for that. If it's, like, something in the car or something that you're eating with your fingers or you just want some chips on the go, then French fries. But I wouldn't want to sit down and have French fries in a restaurant. Or in a pub, I would want it to be chips. So different things, different cuts of potato for different situations. The real interesting one is, when do you introduce wedges? That's interesting. That's a different cut of a potato, isn't it? When do you introduce wedges? When do wedges? I feel like that's party food. I feel like that's party food. French fries are good for party food. You wouldn't have chips on for party food. You wouldn't have like a bowl of chips for people to come around and just pick at. But you might for French fries, and you would for wedges. It's weird, isn't it? Different potato cuts for different situations. Days draws the line at South Korea. Pff, forget South Korea. We want the Senegal dance. No more Senegal dances. Senegal are dead to me. Dead to me. It's all about making them humble now. No more Senegal dances. Days, you should try New York, Chicago. Pizza. Okay. I mean, yeah, maybe I should. I don't know. I know that Chicago is the deep dish. I have. This is going to be a really bad example, but when I was young, you used to be able to get, and I think you still can, of course, these Chicago-style deep dish pizzas that you put in the microwave. So what you would do is you would buy them. They were 2 in a box. You kept them in the freezer, I think it was. Yeah, freezer. And then you, when I would finish school, I would take them out, put them in a microwave for a few minutes. They would come out, and it was a Chicago little, about so big, Chicago deep dish pizza. And I would have those, and they would have been microwaved. And they tasted exactly like you think they would taste, like cardboardy, quite rich tomato-y. Like they had to at least give it some sort of flavour. So it was quite rich tomato. The tomato was quite nice, but the base was, ugh. You would have been appalled. If you are a Chicago pizza connoisseur, you would have been absolutely appalled. But you want a quick something to eat after school, or when you get back. They're pretty good things to have in the house, actually. So, I have tried Chicago deep dish pizza, but I would be the first to admit that I have never tried proper Chicago deep dish pizza. And actually, a full one, because these were only small, but a full proper one, I should imagine that would be an interesting experience. And more calories, enough calories to sink a battleship, I would imagine. Don't know New York style pizza. I'm guessing that's just normal pizza. I'm guessing. That's probably more like the ones that we have here. I mean, if you order from like local pizza shops, I don't think they do Chicago deep dish. I've never really noticed it being on the menu. It's just normal. Like, pizza base, cheese, toppings, all coming in, headed out. I'm having them little pizzas now, said Jellyheads. They're good. They fill a hole, but I think compared to a proper Chicago deep dish pizza, I think pizza connoisseurs would be absolutely appalled. Ball going over to the right-hand side. We are at the 40th minute. Still no goals. Here come Denmark. Edge of the area. Trying to play it back, but it runs out. So far, we have seen 2 shots on target for Australia. 2 shots on target for Denmark. It's been all right. It's been interesting. We've been watching it back and forth. France and Tunisia are still battling away in their game as well. Of course, as things stand, this is not good news for Denmark, but it is very good news for Australia, because it would mean that France and Australia would be progressing. So we could be getting to half-time with Australia going through. That's a great result for them. Ball being headed forward, goes out of play. I love those pizzas. My mum gets them all the time, says No Fear. I tweeted you something important about Pele. Hello, James. Are you out? Pele. Pele has been hospitalized after developing swelling, heart issues, and mental confusion. His cancer treatment appears to be ineffective. He is now undergoing health tests. Our thoughts go out to him. That's a shame. That's a shame. He's not a spring chicken, though, is he? I don't know how old he is, but I think he must be getting on in age. Shot here by Australia, straight into the hands of Kasper Schmeichel. Pele, how old are you, Pele? You legend. He is 82 now, you know. 82. Isn't it crazy that he is still with us? Arguably, the disrespect that's been shown Pele, for example, is that to sit here and listen to a load of people arguing whether Messi or Ronaldo is the greatest player of all time. I should imagine he's sat there going, excuse me. I mean, when I grew up, there was no question about who the greatest. Maradona was mentioned, but there was no question but that Pele was the greatest player that ever played. Ball in the middle by Denmark, but too close to the keeper. Who did they say? Let's have a look. Greatest footballer ever. Who is the greatest footballer ever? Ranking 442. 442 ranked the greatest footballers ever. We'll do that at halftime. We will look at 442's 10 greatest footballers ever. I think they're ranked as well, so that'll be interesting. Who have they gone with? We'll find out. Right, it's going to be a throw into Denmark. Did you get your Twitter account back? Nope. I got an email saying, thank you for your appeal. We will be in touch shortly after review. Then I did get another email, which I only saw this morning. And it basically was like, if you think that your account has been taken down by error, then you can lodge an appeal here. So it's going to be one of them, innit? Go here, do this, do that, speak to this person. Like, such a blown out thing. So frustrating. I mean, I remember this being the case with my first account. When my first account got suspended, I've told that story already, but I had a Twitter account. It was Wrestling Days UK. Had that account when the channel first started, and if you watch some of the old videos, I mentioned that channel. And when I started doing watch-alongs, I would share the links to these watch-alongs. Again, nothing dodge. These watch-alongs. But I wasn't putting no copyright content at the top. I was just putting live, the link. I mean, I was still putting watch-along on it, right? But I wasn't doing the no copyright content thing. And that channel got flagged by the algorithm, and it eventually got suspended, right? Then I tried to appeal it. I remember that being a nightmare. At the time, years ago, it was a nightmare. And in the end, I was like, well, do you know what? I've still got the Wrestling Days account, which is a much better name, to be honest, than Wrestling Days UK. So I was sort of like, I ain't going to worry about it because I've got this other one. So I started putting no copyright content at the top. And that was it. Resolved. Lovely. Everyone was winning. So I could share the links. No copyright content. Never got in any issue. No one ever contacted me. Because why would they? It's all algorithms and whatever. So it was all good. And then Elon came along. He's changed something. And now it's become a problem again. So flipping nightmare. Lecky, ball in the air, going punch clear by Kasper Schmeichel. Comes down the left-hand side by Denmark, bouncing around. Australia are the ones finishing this half the stronger, you know. 2 added minutes, that's what we've got. Pele is the GOAT of all GOATs. Easy99 said Pele has been hospitalised. His condition is worsening. Dave's hating on Chicago Town small pizzas. I thinks he wants to take this outside. Hey, I don't hate on them. They got me through school. I used to finish school and I used to have them most nights, in all fairness. If ever I finished school, first thing I'd come back is raid the fridge or freezer and have some of those. But I think it's undeniable that the base of those things is not a lovely, doughy pizza or base. It's very cardboardy. Even like, it's very tough as well because of it being in the microwave. It's a very tough base. And if you're a pizza connoisseur, I mean, listen, do they fill a hole? Do they serve a purpose? Absolutely. But if you was to give one to someone that lived in Chicago, I'm pretty sure they would spit in your face. Pretty sure they would slap you in the face and tell you that that is a disgrace to the Chicago deep dish pizza. Here's Australia. Ball coming over to the left-hand side in the middle. Cleared by Denmark. That was tense. I tell you what, a goal here would be massive for Australia because if Australia score, that would then mean that Denmark need 2. So Australia are looking. They are probing. They know, though, that if they concede, it will be Australian hearts broken. So they really could do something out of this game. And there we go. Halftime whistle has gone. And it is Tunisia 0, France 0, Australia 0, Denmark 0. So it's as we were. It's as we were. They said that there's 15 minutes in the first half where Denmark really dominated. But 0-0, all things considered, is about right. Right, I said at halftime we would take a look at the top 100 players of all time, and especially the top 10. So let's have a look. This was only issued the other week, so let's have a look and see what 442. So ranked the 100 best football players of all time. This came out on October 10th, 2022. So we've got, let's have a look, see what we've got. So Brazilian Ronaldo. Did you get that on tape? Ronaldo asked reporters with a smile on his face after scoring his 5th goal in one 1993 match. He wasn't the Brazilian Ronaldo back then. He was known as Ronaldinho and had netted 12 times in his season debut for Cruzeiro. 5 of them against Bahia, including a masterpiece where he stole the ball from veteran Uruguay goalkeeper, rolled it into the empty net. Back then, he might not have known that he would have got loads of these moments on tape. More accurately, 420 goals in his career. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? So, Brazilian Ronaldo in at number 10. Puskas. So Puskas always scored. He averaged more than a goal per game through his illustrious career, including 87 goals in 85 caps for Hungary. That is amazing. 4 of them coming in the 1954 World Cup, when Puskas proudly wore the captain's armband and opened the scoring in the final against West Germany after just 6 minutes. Sadly, he wasn't fully fit for that match after sustaining a hairline fracture against the same opponents in the group stage. Hungary lost the final 3-2 in a notable upset. I love this. So Tom Finney said he had a roly-poly physique, but a wonderful left foot, and he was a brilliant finisher. I would have put Puskas in any list of all-time greats. Someone that doesn't get mentioned enough, actually. When you talk about the all-time great players, Puskas, I don't think, is someone that gets mentioned enough. Franz Beckenbauer. Like many great players, Beckenbauer was adept at playing in several positions. Originally a centre forward, he actually made his Bayern debut as a left winger in his first full season. Bayern won promotion to the recently formed Bundesliga. As Bayern's youth team products blossomed, Bayern gradually became the dominant force in West German football. Um, yeah, wonderful. I know him more as being like a kind of defensive midfielder, like kind of sitting in that six position. But I think he played in defense, and I'm sure he did sweeping as well. So the sweeper role is not really around anymore, is it? Career highlights at Hampden Park in 1976. Beckenbauer captained Bayern on the night that they completed a hat trick of European Cup victories, defeating St Etienne. He said, "I still have a huge feeling of pride about that one." Right, we've got George Best. Yeah. It was 1968, age 22, that his pace, belief, and technical ability, balance, and creativity in perfect symmetry Best deservedly followed the other two of United's holy trinity, Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, in winning the Ballon d'Or. After this, his decline gradually began. Best made his debut in 1963. By 1968, he had twice won the English League title, whilst his 32 goals in 53 games coincided with them winning the European Cup. This is interesting. At the end of his first week in 1972, with United declining and Best's gambling and drinking increasing, they fined him for missing the week's training. He also twice announced his retirement, gained weight through inactivity, only to change his mind without rediscovering his previous level. His last appearance for Man United against QPR came on January 1st, 1974, before a period in which he appeared for 11 teams. I didn't know that. Following Fulham, Stockport, Hibernian, and Los Angeles Aztecs. In 1984, wow, 10 years of doing that, he retired permanently. By the point of his death in 2005, at the age of 59, following illnesses relating to his alcoholism, Best had twice married, twice divorced, struggled financially, and even spent 12 weeks in prison in 1984. That's awful. Johan Cruyff at number 6. The Cruyff turn, of course. The famous Cruyff turn. There is... will it let us show the famous Cruyff turn? The Cruyff turn. Ball in. Boom! Look at that. Yeah! The famous Cruyff turn. He retired in 78. Right. Number 5, Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane on the list. A common conception in football that the most creative talents also tend to be the least efficient. That style comes at the expense of steel. Zidane was the most luxurious player possible, but combined it with towering levels of competitive resolve. What the flip? I'm not in the area. If you are just joining us, or if it didn't display it, Pele was number 4. Ronaldo, so Pele at 4, Ronaldo at 3, Maradona at 2, and Messi at 1. That's how it's played out. So, yeah, can't say I agreed with it, but hey ho. Right, big shout out to Hype 3 MMA. Hype 3 MMA, shout out to you, my friends. You said thanks for helping for those who are at work during games. Are you welcome? There's not loads to swoon about, to be honest. It's not the most captivating of action. We thought Tunisia had scored, but it's still 0-0 there. Here in this half, it is Tunisia 0, France 0 as well. Australia 0, Denmark 0. Yeah, we'll see what the second half brings. We know that France are through, but who's going to go through out of Australia, Denmark? The second half's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really tense because one goal can change everything. One goal can change anything and everything. Right, let's have a look. I think, is it still showing as struggling, is it? Let's try and refresh it a little bit. Horrible lag, yeah. Proper made us crash, didn't it? But hopefully we're back. It says there's a good, strong connection. I think we might need to sort out the chat on screen as well. And we should be going back to the games fairly soon. Here we go. Let's go over here. Change this over because I think that's got caught and frozen as well. We got battered with lag last night during NXT. So as I said, I think there might be something wrong in the area. I did send a report to them saying that something was not right. So a bit disappointing, but... right, on BBC, they're just having a look at the Welsh team who sadly crashed out and went home. So they're just looking at their tournament, and it's got to be seen as a success just getting to the World Cup. So hopefully they're not feeling too down today. I was listening to TalkSport last night, and they were saying that they were very proud. They were very proud of what the team had achieved. And there was not a dry eye in Wales, but it was obviously very emotional for them. Wrestle with Andy said, you need to do a top 10 list like that for all-time wrestlers. Yeah, that could be pretty fun, actually, but not my list. It would be good if it was a proper, like, I don't know, Meltzer. Imagine if Meltzer, I'd be interested in Meltzer's. I probably wouldn't agree with it, but I'd be interested in it. It'd be interesting to know who he would regard as the top 10 wrestlers of all time. Actually, I'm just going to quick look at that and see if he has actually done that list. Has Meltzer done the top 10? Top 10 wrestlers ever, Meltzer. Let's have a little look. The good news, top 100 wrestlers in the forward, Dave Meltzer provides... hello, what's this? There's one here that says top 100 wrestlers, but I don't know that it... I don't know if that is by Meltzer. It might be, you know. There's a book called The Top 100. Top 100 wrestlers of all time. But it doesn't say that it's by Dave. It says it's edited by Dave Meltzer. So he played a part in it. Whether he, like, totally agrees with it or not, I'm not sure. And it looks quite an old book as well. This website looks old. The book looks old. Oh, it's 2002, the book, so it's a bit redundant, isn't it? I don't know, to be honest, that he has done a list like that. He should. That'd be good. Imagine if he did that in one of the Observers. People would be into that. Hype 3 MMA said, great day, my friend. Thank you for getting us through work. Shout out to you, buds. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. And we are about to go underway with the second half. Australia, Denmark about to kick off. Can they do it? Can Australia go through? I hope so. I hope so. I hope they can do it. Right. Australia are going from right to left. And we are seeing Denmark going from left to right. They said Australia need to get a bit more of a positive mindset. I mean, look, they're going to be thrilled with how that first half went. They will be absolutely thrilled, but yeah, the pressure's going to be really on now. So, corner kick right at the start of the second half for Australia. Jogging over to the corner. 3 shots on target by Australia, 2 by Denmark. Australia find themselves with a corner, and France and Tunisia kicking off as well. Okay, we're going to see this ball getting whipped in by Australia from the corner. It's pinballing around. No, shot from the edge of the area. Headed clear by Denmark. Goes behind. Goes behind. Nicely cleared by Denmark, but they've got another corner here, Australia. So this is going to get whipped in again by Mouez. So plenty of red shirts back. 47th minute. Here we go. Ball being played in. Into the centre. Cleared again. Goes back out, and that's going to be a throw-in this time. Don't know that we've had any substitutions in the France game. Let's have a look, see if there has been. I know people are going to be hoping Mbappe comes on. And going to be hoping for a few changes. No changes in the France game. So still going with the same team that's on screen. Okay, Mouez trying to get on the ball, but Denmark have got the ball. Denmark passing it around, down the line. So Denmark are trying to counter, but Australia have got plenty of shirts back, plenty of players back. Good challenge in midfield there by Australia. Ball in the middle, driving forwards. Goes over to the left-hand side. Oh, do you know what? I don't mind that. So it's played out to the left-hand side. It's played immediately back, and as it comes back, he just hits it. He just hits it first time. That was Jackson Irvin, inside the penalty area, but skies it over, unfortunately. But I don't mind him doing that. He was in a good position. If he'd have got that on target, it could have been very interesting. Are Australia going to rue those missed chances, though? Are Australia going to regret not capitalising on some of these moments? I can tell you that right now, Australia are 0.28. Have a look. Australia are 0.17, sorry. 0.17 expected goals. Denmark are 0.28. So, expected goals is saying that 0-0 is about the right result so far. What is that French team, said Jellyhead? It's the rest of their squad, basically, with their first 11 pretty much being rested. They're through, aren't they? Not only are they through, but they're top. I mean, they would have to not only lose, but they would have to lose by a lot of goals, a fair few goals, in order for them to not finish top of this group. Ledge Killer said, come on, France. AEW fan said, Days is secretly sponsored by Lucozade. I'm hoping to get Beyblades on board. Edward said, are you getting paid by WWE? As I keep getting WWE network ads on your channel. Oh, do you? No. I don't decide who gets to advertise on the channel. That's YouTube that works that out. But of course, WWE are going to want to target people that watch wrestling related content, aren't they? So I would imagine if you watch AEW, there might be adverts for WWE Network that get shown. That's interesting. That's interesting if it's showing WWE Network ads. I have YouTube Premium, which I couldn't live without now, you know. I couldn't live without. I couldn't cope with the adverts. I go onto YouTube quite a bit to look and see what, I don't know, UFC pundits made of a UFC show, or maybe I'll watch ESPN FC and I watch their highlights on YouTube. Sometimes I'll watch, like, don't know, a bit of Jim Cornette, or I'll watch something to wrestle with. I watch like that kind of stuff, and I go onto YouTube a bit as I'm like doing bits of work. I couldn't cope with waiting for adverts. I'll quite happily spend that money to have the adverts go away. And it gives you YouTube music, which I use, and I think it's pretty good. It's maybe not Spotify, but can't say I've found it. Can't say I've struggled to find anything I've ever looked for on there. So yeah, I love that. I love YouTube Premium. Ball is going over to the left-hand side, played into the middle. Nice little turn on the edge of the area. Denmark trying to find a way through, but no joy. I don't see both of these games being scoreless, says Dante Drake. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. We're obviously getting into a real exciting point with the groups wrapping up. So once the groups are done, then the tournament becomes a very different tournament. And it's going to be good. I must admit, it's going to be nice to just get back to one game again. Having the two games is sort of good if one's a bit dull, but it will be nice to get back to just one game so we can just focus on one game. Denmark! Oh! Shot in the penalty area, but it's blocked by the Australian defender. Denmark down the right-hand side, trying to whip the ball in the middle. Headed clear. Headed clear, the ball up in the air. Yeah, good work by Australia to try and get it away, but ball is loose and it ends up trickling out of play. Will there be more shopping spree videos? Those were OG. Well, do you know, I quite a while ago now did record a toy hunt, but because of the World Cup, I've not been able to edit it. I've not been able to edit it and get it uploaded. So there is a toy hunt that's been recorded like weeks ago. And I've got the footage, and I just need to sit down and edit it. So I know there's one waiting. I need to get a move on, actually, because obviously by the time it comes out, all the figures will be, like, out of shops. But it's just, yeah, I need, like, every day there's been 2 or 3 games in the World Cup. And then we've been doing the wrestling as well, so I need to get to break, really, in the World Cup. I need it to be a case whereby there's no games for a day or something. And we haven't had that yet. Ball is being played forward by Denmark. And we are seeing number 13, Fofana, just going off the pitch here. He looks all right, though. He looks all right. Here's Denmark in the penalty area, cutting on the inside. Good clearance by Australia. Good clearance by Australia. Dave's top 5. Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and the Elites. Yeah! Dave couldn't live without AEW. Yeah, I would be interested to see his thoughts, because what I would say about Dave Meltzer is I don't agree with his star ratings, right? I don't feel they're millions of miles away, but definitely there's things about AEW he enjoys that I am not crazy about, and there's things about WWE that he doesn't seem to enjoy that I am more into. So I know that me and Dave, I'm guessing you and Dave, you know, everyone and Dave have got slightly different opinions when it comes to wrestling, right? That's life. That's the world, yeah? No one, some people might have the same opinions, but you have to accept that not everyone thinks the same way, right? And I can accept that. I can deal with that. But it would be really interesting, what with his wrestling knowledge, to find out who he regards as the top 10. I think that would be really interesting. I don't know that he would put in like a Kenny Omega or something along those lines. Certainly if it was top 10 tag teams, the Bucks may feature. Top 10, would Kenny make it in there? I seriously don't know. But by and large, I feel like he would be quite respectful to the legends. I think he'd do a pretty decent job. You see, the thing is, he's got such great knowledge of, like, Japan in particular. You know, I'd be really interested to read it. If he was to do an issue of that, I would be interested to read it. Would I agree with it? I have no idea, but I'd be interested to read it. Ball being played forwards, and nice tackle there by Denmark as Australia were looking to counter. Damsgaard is getting ready to come on. Damsgaard looks like he's coming on. So it looks like it's going to be a couple of substitutions, actually. They're just showing that Australia have completed 146 passes. Denmark have completed 350. Dave's favourite food is deer, because they were once Young Bucks, said AEW fan. Very good. Do you listen to Jim Cornette's podcast? I do. I don't listen to it religiously, but I do listen to his podcast. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I think he's pretty funny. I think he's pretty funny. I think that he has got a great knowledge of wrestling history, which is fascinating to listen to. I think that I think some of his observations of modern wrestling are right for me, but then some are not. But again, I do have the ability to listen to people opinions and, like, tell myself that, well, I don't agree with that, but I understand we're not all the same. you know I understand. I mean, like, if we were all the same, then Triple H would be giving me everything I want, because me and Triple H would think the same. And me and Vince would have given me everything I wanted, because me and Vince would have thought the same. So, of course, people think differently, and of course, people want different things, and of course, people have their favorites. You've got people that are into Sasha, but then you've got people that are more into Liv, and then you've got people that are more into Alexa, and then you've got people that love Roman, and then you've got people that hate Roman, just like we saw people that don't like Ronda, but there's people that are into Ronda, and then you've got, like, people that are into the OC, but then some people like the Judgment Day, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'm quite happy to listen. For me, I think there is a bit of a line that does get crossed at times, though. I think it's very easy to forget, and I'm guilty of it as well, but it's very easy to forget that these are people. But that's where I try to be, like, criticize the characters and the booking. And I mean, if something gets botched, you're like, that's been botched. But, like, some of the stuff, like the Fire Ronda thing, like, talking about someone losing their job here. Hello, we've got a goal, have we, for Tunisia? Yeah. They're showing it on BB. Do you know what's really annoying? When they show it on there, I get to watch it here. So it is a goal for Tunisia. Wow, look, I tell you what, the fans are going crazy. What does that mean? That means that Tunisia are going through, That means that Tunisia are going through. What? All of a sudden, Australia, the draw is not going to be helping them out. All of a sudden, Australia are level on points with Tunisia, but going out on goal difference. It is 1-0 to Tunisia. Let's have a little look here. So, Fofana loses the ball. So there's a little battle in midfield. Fofana appeals. Tunisia drive forwards, edge of the area, takes the shot, and he just manages to slot it past the keeper. It's a nice finish. Wow. Look at that. I mean, this is not the French side that we know. This isn't like a big shock like Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, for example. Here come Australia, though. Australia, edge of the area, on the inside, takes a shot. Oh, Australia score! Australia score! Oh, my God. Australia have just scored a goal that's little similar to what we just saw from Tunisia. Is news going to be coming through to Tunisia? They're celebrating. They're going crazy. But Australia have scored. And now Australia are going through. Today has blasted off. We've blasted off. Look at the smiles on the faces on that Tunisian bench. But I don't think they know at this stage. Australia have scored. The Socceroos, twisting and turning, slotting it home. Okay, so Australia have scored. Who's the goal scorer? The goal scorer is Lecky. Lecky twists and turns, gets to the edge of the area, takes the shot, drags it into the bottom corner. Past the desperate dive of Kasper Schmeichel. Right. They're dancing and celebrating, the Tunisian fans. I want to see what it's like when the news comes through. Right, they're dancing, they're singing, they're bouncing. Will that news come through to them, though? It's Tunisia again. It's still, I mean, Tunisia need to win. Australia are going through. So we've got a Tunisian player down. Tunisian player down. Referee stopping play. I'm still waiting for them to mention the goal. It must have come through. They must have heard by now. They're still singing. They're still celebrating, Tunisian fans. Tunisia have got to get one more. There it is. There it is. I wondered if there would be like a like from the crowd, but there wasn't. Tunisia, there's nothing they can do. Tunisia are winning, so they can't get any more points. So an Australia win, like it has to be a draw. I think I'm right in saying it either has to be a draw or a Denmark win for Tunisia. If Denmark were to win this by 1 goal, then Denmark would be on 4 points, but their goal difference would be -1. So Australia scoring is a disaster for Tunisia. But there's nothing they can do about it. They are doing everything they can do. Varane, Coman, Vertut going off, and Mbappe is going to come on. Rabiot on, Saliba on, Mbappe on. So we are seeing Rabiot and Mbappe joining the fields. He's going to want a goal, isn't he? Mbappe's going to want a goal. Mbappe is definitely going to want a goal. At the moment, joint leader with 3, I believe, in the tournament, alongside Marcus Rashford. Here's Denmark, ball bouncing off the Australian player. Tasty in it. Tasty in it. Mason said, can't believe Denmark were considered a dark horse. They might finish bottom of this group. Redemption said, Days wants the Tunisian fans to wake up to reality. I just wanted that moment, that reaction of like, it's the highs and the lows of the game, isn't it? You go 1 minute from celebrating your shirt off, waving it in the air, to the next minute, putting your shirt on, sitting down, crying, just weeping tears because Australia have scored and now they're going through. Wonderful. In the space of just a few moments, we went from Australia going through to Tunisia going through, back to Australia going through. And of course, Denmark absolutely can still go through as well themselves. If Denmark gets a couple of quick goals here, they would be just 1 goal behind Tunisia, I believe. 1 goal behind Tunisia. If Denmark get a couple of quick goals, Tunisia are going through. If Denmark, I think, need 3. Denmark need 3 to go through. They need to win 3-1. Or they need France to score. And then I think Denmark would need 2. So it's starting to look not great for Denmark with only 25 minutes to go. This is in Australia's hand. If Australia can just maintain this lead, it's Australia's. There's nothing Tunisia can do. There's nothing Tunisia can do. It's out of Tunisia's hands. Denmark are more like a pony than a dark horse, said Rotem. Hamid said, I feel a France goal is coming. Come on, France. Go Fiji, said Wendell. Gregor said, amazing. Oh, it's all kicked off, innit? It's all kicked off. Not much in the way of that first half, but now real drama with Tunisia scoring, Australia firing back. I wonder if they knew or if it's just really random timing. Ball being thrown down the line. Denmark trying to clear their lines. It really feels like Denmark are going home. I honestly don't think, I mean, who... I've got a feeling that... oh, lovely little twist and turn there. Let's have a quick look at the World Cup bracket just for a second. This is Group D. So the runner-up of Group D will go on the same side of the draw as USA. So USA against Netherlands will play the winners of Group C or the runners-up of D. So at the moment, Australia... Oh, my God. USA, Netherlands, Australia, and the winner of Group C, which could be Argentina or Saudi Arabia or Mexico or Poland, one of those teams is going to be going through to a World Cup semi-final. One of those teams will go through to a World Cup semi-final. Let's say that it's Argentina. So USA, Netherlands, Argentina, or Australia, one of those sides will be in a World Cup semi-final. As it stands at the moment, it's Australia that go through in second place. And I think Argentina might finish top of their group, but we don't know on that, to be honest. We don't know on that. As we said, this has repercussions for the USA and for England. Winner of this group will go onto like England's side. Ball being played in, and it's up in the air and goes out. Australia is representing Asian sides, although they are from the Oceania continental. Things were always going to pick up in the second half, said Smitster. Gakpo's got 3 as well. That's true. Valencia also, I believe. So there's a few names up there. I don't want Mbappe to... Well, do I? Oh, God, it's so hard to know. Mailer's gone off. Olsen has gone off. So Mailer and Olsen off. Cornelius and Skov have come on. Tunisia have got a corner. So, ball goes behind. Ball being played back, goes all the way back to the keeper. Like, I do want Mbappe to score because I've got him in my fantasy team. But then I don't want him to be out-and-out leader in the goal-scoring tournament, in the Golden Boot. Maybe just give him one. Give him one. He can have 1 goal today. He'll be ahead by 1 goal then. Someone invaded the pitch in the France game. Oh. We had that the other day as well, didn't we? I don't think it wasn't the France game. Was it the Netherlands game? What an upset. The Aussies going through over Denmark. It'd be massive for Australia. That would be huge. I don't think anyone gave them a chance of progressing. Yeah, that would be huge. Ball being played into the middle and a Danish player goes down. Is that a penalty? Oh, it's a penalty for Denmark. Offside flag. Well. Let's have a little look here. He's offside. Who's offside, so there's no penalty. Wow. Wow, he was offside, so no penalty for Denmark. If he'd have been onside and that had been a goal-scoring opportunity, penalty would have stood. Wow, drama. If that had been 1-1, Tunisia would be qualifying. So it's offside. We are seeing Tunisia bursting forward. Tunisia really need a Danish goal. Tunisia really need a Danish goal. This is really hard for Denmark at the moment, isn't it? Because even if they score, it's still not them that are going through. Ball is going over to the left-hand side. Denmark putting the pressure on. They're going to keep putting the pressure on. Tunisia defending for their lives at the moment. Yes, it was offside, said Luke. Daoud says, come on, Denmark, make it 1-1 so that Tunisia can go through. Charlie said, when is the escape pod coming out? The escape pod set up. It's 11 o'clock tonight. It's on the Wrestling Escape Pod channel. So it was recorded yesterday. It comes airs tonight. That needed to be better there. Okay, there was a foul anyway, so it doesn't matter. There was a ball that was played into Cornelius. He just headed it nonchalantly. That needed to be better, but he got penalised for the push anyway. Trying my best. I've got Morocco in the sweepstakes. I think they can win it, said Dort Knight. Okay, we're seeing a Australian substitution right now. So we're seeing an Australian substitution. Number 14 is coming off for Australia. So we are seeing McCree coming off. And number 8 is coming on right. Griezmann is coming on for France as well. So Griezmann is on. So France starting to resemble a little bit more the French side that we know, but still a massively changed team. But Mbappe is on. Griezmann is on. Rabiot is on. I think Kingsley Coman is started anyway. Ball going down the line and it goes out of play. Right, here's Denmark. Denmark on the ball. We are approaching the final 20 minutes. We are approaching the final 20 minutes. Guess who has Kazari on this team? This guy, said AEW fan. That was brave. Well done. Wakanda will go through if Denmark lose, said Zakaria. Okay, Denmark playing the ball. Denmark have had 60% of the ball, 28% for Australia. The rest has been contested. We're seeing a change for Tunisia. Number 15 going off. They're just praying right now, Tunisia, that not only do France not score, but they're also praying that there will be a goal for Denmark. Denmark battling away, but as we said, this is looking good for Australia, but there's still only one goal in it. If Australia concede, it is Tunisia that would be going through. So it's tense. It's tense. We're seeing a free kick for Australia in Denmark's half. A second goal here would be so sweet for Australia. Second goal here would be huge. Ball up into the middle, headed clear by Denmark. We're seeing Tunisian fans hoping, praying. Ball being played forward, down the line, bouncing around. It's brought down by Australia over on the right-hand side. It's whipped into the middle, but it's not many yellow shirts in there. Days, did you see McCree's scorpion kick goal in the Australian League? No, I recommend you watch it, says DR. Scorpion kick? That's cool. I think I've only ever seen one scorpion kick. And that was Haji. I want to say, was it Regita? It was a friendly. 95, Colombia, England. Reggie Hagita, I think his name was. I think that's the only scorpion kick I've ever seen. Shot bounces off an Australian player, goes into the hands of Matt Turner. Oof. We did just have a little scorpion kick on display here. Ball being up in the air, brought down by Australia. It's quite tense, you know. Just showing that it's 45% possession for France, 36% for Tunisia. How big is Tunisia? This would be massive for Tunisia. I know they're not going through, but beating France, and I know it's not full strength France, but even so, how big is Tunisia? Tunisia, population 11.9 million. So 11.9 million is the population for Tunisia. Is Tunisia a rich country? 113th in the world, apparently. Ball going over to the right-hand side. It's cleared in the middle. Now we're seeing Denmark with the ball trying to drive forwards. Yeah, honestly, it really feels good for Australia. It really feels good for Australia. But as we said, it only takes one goal. Denmark are on the ball, playing it over to the left-hand side. It's brought down. Nice challenge there by Australia, winning the ball back, putting in such a big effort. Such a big effort. Ball goes all the way back to the Danish goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. So Schmeichel playing the ball forward. France still, I'm not seeing many chances here for France, you know. It's not like France are getting chance after chance after chance at all. This has been a very, very flat performance by them, but of course you would expect that. In fact, they have had no shots on target according to this. According to the stats in this France game, they've had 60% of the ball, 2 shots, and none on target. France have had no shots on target. Ball being played in by Denmark, but it's too long. 3 shots on target by Tunisia. So what we're learning is that France's second strength squad is not good enough to beat Tunisia. Their second strength squad is not good enough to beat Tunisia. We're seeing Dembele come on. I wonder if that mentally backfires on them. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if, like, the fact that your starting 11 is so good, but your second string is... I mean, no one should expect their second string to be able to beat a country at a World Cup, of course, but there's plenty of people that say that France has got an amazing squad and that their second string could. At the moment, 1-0 Tunisia. They're the better side. No shots on target by France. Looks like it's going to be a corner for France, though, and that's been won by Mbappe. Days, I've got D'Lo Brown figure. My opinions are high 4 out of 10. The legs are insanely hard to move. He isn't a great figure. Hope you are okay. Oh. Mine's still in a box. Charlie, shout out to you. Ball is clear. Redemption said, I love it when France loses. It's just a shame that the goal difference isn't a bigger factor. I would love it if, like, the goal difference was a bigger thing. But we need, like, more goals, basically. I mean, if Tunisia were to score another, that would mean that France's goal difference would go down to +2. Then if Australia scored another, they would go to 0. There's still 2 goals in it. Like, there needs to be loads more goals in order for France to not finish first. It's frustrating as an England fan because it looks like France are going to be on our side of the draw. Come on, Tunisia. Need you to go crazy with goals. I either need Australia... Well, no. I need I either need Australia to go goal crazy or I need France to go goal crazy. But at the moment, it's 1-0 in both games. Here's France, ball in the middle, bouncing around and goes out of play. Into the final 10 minutes. Would have been a completely different game if France played with their starters, says Hamad. Charlie said, will Argentina qualify or get knocked out tonight? I hope Argentina get knocked out, as it would put the predictions of them being winners to bed. I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know what happens with them. I feel like they go through, and I think it's got to be likely they go through as winners, but honestly, anything can happen. The later games are tasty. Shot coming in by Dembele, and finally France get a shot on target. And it's Dembele. It's not happening this for Denmark. It's really not happening for Denmark. Denmark just don't even look that threatening, to be honest. Just whatever they had at the Euros is not here right now. Ball being played forward by Australia. Come on, Australia. Come on, Australia. Get a second. Get a third. So at the moment, it is France and Australia that are going to go through. At the moment, France, Australia going through. And at the moment, it is 1-0 in both games. Tunisia beating France, but a much changed France. And we have Australia beating Denmark. Wonderful performance this by Australia. They have got to be so proud of this Australian team. I mean, even though soccer, football is not the biggest in Australia, this is going to resonate there. You know, this is going to resonate, definitely. France top in the group, Australia second. Ball is played back. Goes over to the right-hand sides. Goes all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel. We're seeing some Tunisian substitutions. They know it's out of their hands. All they can do is just make sure they win the game. That's all they can do. And they've just got to hope that Denmark find a goal. If Denmark score, then it is Tunisia that would go through. How mental is that? How mental is that? Tunisia would only be going through because they managed to beat a drastically weakened French team. That is it. Tunisia wouldn't deserve to go through. Tunisia wouldn't be the second best team in this group. But then saying that, you know, they did get a draw against Denmark as well. Got to give them credit for that. But if this was a full-strength French team, I think they would have lost this game. And they would have ended this group on 1 point. Ball is being played forward into the middle of the park. Into the final five. Here come Australia driving forwards. Shot comes in and it's blocked by Denmark. Safe to say that Denmark has faded out just like the sponsors on their shirts. Denmark were thinking about nonsense just like Germany instead of playing football. And we're paying the price for that now, says Khalil. Denmark is a good team with good quality players, but they just don't have a finisher, said Easy99. Back post. Ball up. Bounce wide. France are looking a lot more threatening now. Look at that, dude. There's a Tunisian fan. He's praying. Absolutely praying. This would be a famous win for them. It would be heartbreak for them to leave the tournament now, but to get a victory over France at a World Cup stage. There's a few glum French faces in the crowd. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what does this mean for momentum? Does it matter? It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Like, does it matter? Will they look back at this as a mistake, France? If they lose this 1-0? You know, are they a bit glum tonight? Do they shake it off and be like, oh, it don't matter, it's our second string, but like, how does the second string feel about that? Don't know. It's interesting. It's safe to say Denmark have faded. Oh, foul there on the Tunisian player. No, referee not giving anything. Referee not giving anything. Ball being played into the centre. Headed clear by Australia. 87th minute is where we are now. Keeping an eye on both games. Dembele has looked so good, since he's come on. Dembele has looked like a real live wire. Dembele is such a fantastic player to have off the bench. Like, he really looks like someone that's got energy, and he looks like someone that's got, like, running in his legs, and he's definitely been a bright spark since he's come on the pitch. What's going on, said Sticky Buds. Well, it is a greatly weakened French team. Tunisia getting the goal in the 58th minute, and they've held on. France have not played well at all. But since they made their substitutions, they played a lot better, and Denmark put the ball wide. Shot there by Denmark, and they put it wide. Australian woman there with her head on her hands. As long as it's job done in the first two games, it doesn't matter. You suffer more with first team injuries, says Steve. Just seeing pictures of the fans. Even the French fans are looking a bit glum. Right, the Lecky, the goal scorer, is going off. Hrustic is coming on. So, Hrustic is coming on. Wonderful moment of magic that was from him to get that goal. Break Danish hearts. Denmark would have had high hopes of getting out of this group. This is, dare I say, going to be the first shock so far. I think most people would have said Netherlands, Senegal going through in Group A. So Netherlands, Senegal go through in Group A. Group B, England and I think it was either USA or Wales. And it turned out to be USA. Iran definitely got into the conversation, but I don't think USA getting through is a shock. I don't think we quite knew who would emerge, but I don't think it's a shock. I think Australia going through is a shock. I think this is the first team to go through that is a real surprise. If it goes this way, of course. We're not there yet. Here's France. Ball is, it's a lovely shot. It's a lovely save. Kylian Mbappe with a great shot. It's not happened for him. It's not happened for him. We're seeing a Danish player come over, have a word with the official. Tunisia on the ball, looking to bring it out. Good work there by Tunisia. That was nice. Beat the man forward. Oh! Played a forward pass. Looked like the Tunisian player was going to get onto it, but the French goalkeeper was out to mop that up. There was some nice play there, actually, by Tunisia. That was a lovely little counter. We're into the 90th minute in this game. Over in that game, it's 90th minute as well. Oh, my days. Plenty of drama. Shot. Oh, just wide. Just wide. Mouani takes a shot for France, and it goes just wide. So, nice little 1-2. Lovely little link-up play. Edge of the area. Lots of space. Just wide. Here come Australia. Australia driving forward. They would love a second. Not enough on that. 6 added minutes. 6 added minutes in the Australia game. Tunisia, France. We don't know how much longer they've got, but there's 6 minutes in Australia, Denmark. Ball is up in the air and it's cleared. Twisting, turning, ball coming over to the right-hand side. Denmark are still looking. Don't forget, if Denmark score, Australia would be out. It would be Tunisia, of all teams, that would be going through. Ball in the middle, headed clear there by Australia. Battling, working hard. Oh, Denmark are still looking, you know. France are looking as well. 8 added minutes. 8 added minutes for Tunisia and France, says Legend Killer. There are 68 French-born players at this World Cup. Is there? That's amazing. That's amazing. 68. How? How? That's amazing. 68 French-born players at this World Cup. Ball being played forwards. Did Qatar get some or something? Ball going over to the right-hand side, whipped into the middle. I mean, it speaks volumes for their ability to produce players, doesn't it? Whatever they're doing it right. And it's going to be a free kick as well to France. Free kick to France. Ball comes all the way back to the Australian keeper. Rugby league and cricket are the biggest over here, said Dylan's game. Sticky Blood said, I only just got up and my bets are going down the drain. Zakaria said, what are Australia's biggest sports? I thought it was Australian football. Is that not one of the big ones? I thought Aussie rules, as it's called. Aussie rules. It's going to be a free kick for France. I'm guessing Kylian watched Rashford's penalty. Is he going to fancy a go? Is he stand? I don't even know if he's over the ball, to be honest. I'd imagine he is. He is. Kylian standing over the ball. He's going to look to deliver a Rashford-style free kick. Rashford scored his free kick. Can Kylian score his? It's from a similar position. He's a poor man's Rashford, Kylian Mbappe. I wouldn't be surprised if he missed this. 1-0 to Tunisia at the moment. Kylian over the ball. Takes a shot. Hits the wall! Oh, he's like a Poundland Rashford. Poundland Rashford hits the wall. Dollar Tree Rashford hits the wall. Kasper Schmeichel came forward there. There was an opportunity for Denmark. Nothing comes of it, though. Aussie rules as well, says Dylan's game. I thought it was kangaroo boxing, said Yeo Man. Yeah, they just don't admit to it. That's the biggest underground sport. Here is Denmark trying to play it in. It bounces off a player, and it looks like it's going to go out in the middle. Australia clear their lines. 2 minutes to go. Denmark are on their way out after scoring just one goal in this World Cup. Shocking, innit? Shocking. Denmark launched the ball forward as well. We got a minute and a half left here. Oh, Australia are there to mop it up. There was a Danish player that looked like he might get onto the end of that ball. It's another corner, and big Kasper Schmeichel. The Danish guy. I'd love it if Kasper Schmeichel scored. Well, I wouldn't, because I want Australia to go through, but there's something so special about goalkeepers scoring from corners. So, big Kasper Schmeichel is coming up. He's in there. He's causing a nuisance. It's long. In the middle. Oh, it goes over. Goes over. Big Kasper Schmeichel getting in there. There is a big sigh of relief. There's only a minute to go for Australia. And it doesn't matter what the score is in the other game. Does not matter what the score is in the other game. If Australia win, they go through. This would be a famous victory for the Socceroos, and the fans are bouncing already. Denmark surely know that it's over. Surely know that it's over. They've only got 30-odd seconds to score, and even if they score, they're not going through. Unless there's something else in the other game that goes in their favour. 30-odd seconds for Denmark. The ball goes out of play. It's going to be a throw-in. It's irrelevant what happens in the other game. If Australia hold on to this win, it will be a famous win. Ball in the middle of the park. We've got Tunisia breaking forward. Tunisia are looking good. Goes down, and there's the full-time whistle. There's the full-time whistle. Boom! Australia go through. Australia are in the round of 16. Heartbreak for Tunisia. They know now that they can't go through, even with a win over France. But a win over France is still a nice consolation prize. But it is Australia. It is the Socceroos that get through to to the round of 16. And look, we're seeing all of the Tunisian players crowded round a TV screen. They've got their mobile phones. They're watching the result at the other game. They're crowding round. They will now know that they cannot make it. The players on the pitch won't know at the moment. So the players on the pitch are still battling, trying to get this result against France. But, wow, what a performance. If you beat Denmark in a must-win game 1-0, you deserve to go through. Denmark not looking great. But take nothing away from the Herculean effort that Australia have just put in there. Take nothing away from them. And you can see that France and Tunisia are still playing at the moment. France are going to go through in first place. Goal for France. Oh, I've not got that yet. So it looks like France might be... Oh, God. Things going to go from bad to worse for Tunisia then. Well, let's have a look. At the moment, it's still 1-0 in the middle. There's plenty of white shirts there. It's the 98th minute as well. Headed forward. They just cannot get it away. Comes over to that left-hand side. Ball bouncing around again, still on the left-hand side. There's 45 seconds left to go in this game. 45 seconds. Ball in the middle. It's up in the air. Bouncing, and it goes out. And now it's throw in. There's like 30 seconds left. If France are going to score, they're going to do it with about 20-odd seconds on the clock. Ball, edge of the area. Comes over to the left-hand side. Dinked in. Up in the air. Shot comes in. It finds its way in. And it's Griezmann. Griezmann scores for France. Tunisia, I think, would have known that they were going out anyway at this point. Again, I don't know about the players on the pitch. But it is Antoine Griezmann that scores. And that is heartbreak for Tunisia. That is heartbreak for Tunisia. So, 1-1. And, hello, we've got, look at this celebration. So, Griezmann scores. There is a VAR review, apparently. What's the VAR review? So, is there a VAR review for the foul? It's a lovely... I hope this goal's disallowed. There's a player that's down. France on top. There is VAR. Has the full-time whistle gone? I'm a bit confused here. I've just heard the full-time whistle, but SofaScore say the game is still going on. Hello. So, Australia are victorious. The referee is... This is so strange. This is so strange. He just blew the full-time whistle. And he's blown the full-time whistle, and now he's having a look. I've never seen this. I've never seen him blow a full-time whistle. I've never seen a full-time whistle get blown. So, is he offside? They're saying this is down to interpretation. This is so interesting. When the ball is initially played in, he is offside. But the ball comes in, it then gets headed back. How is he going to interpret this? See, I look at that and think he's on. I mean, he's clearly off there, but now he's onside. Personally, I think that's on. See, I think he's now on. I think now he's active. But it's going to be open to interpretation. Referee is no goal. Wow, no goal. And you know what? Tunisia might be going home, but they might be going home with a famous victory. The Tunisian goalkeeper is kissing the ground. Wow. Wow, and look, the Tunisian fans, they've got a smile on their face. They've got to win. They've got to win against France at the World Cup. Yeah, that's still heartache. Could you imagine if Denmark had scored? Could you imagine if Denmark had scored and Australia thought they were through? And then that goal was just disallowed. And this group could have come down to that decision. I swear he blew his full-time whistle. I swear he blew the full-time whistle. The fans are happy like that. Drop into the Europa League after that. We all knew the better team would be today, said Michael. Do you smell what Tunisia is cooking? The ball goes out. There we go. It is a great night for Australia. It's a great night for Tunisia. Yeah, look at the smiles on the faces. Easy said the ref blew the whistle for VAR. Oh, what's that? Melbourne. It's 3:18 in the morning in Melbourne. The scenes in Melbourne are amazing. There's flares and smoke, and it's all kicking off in Melbourne. That was cool. That was cool. That looked cool. Yeah, great result for Australia. Great. Do you know, you got to say great result for Tunisia. I know that they've beaten France's, second team, but even so, still, there was still some quality in that side. They still had Konate, Varane, Chouamini, Kingsley Coman. You would think there was still too much for, of course, this is a team that hasn't played together. The chemistry's not going to be quite there. They're playing against a Tunisian side that have played together a few times now. So, that will be a factor. But even so, granted, you can't say it's France, but it is France. I know it's not the real France, but they still had to deal with Mbappe, and they still had to deal with Rabiot, and they still had to deal with Griezmann that all came on in the second half. So, brilliant result for Tunisia. They couldn't have done any more. The only problem for them is that they left it so late, didn't they? They left it so late. They left it late. They gave themselves way too much to do. And it is... that's how the... Is that how the table is finished? I don't know if is that table correct? I don't feel like that table is correct, I'm sure that should mean that they finish on 6 points, not 7 points. Because Tunisia definitely won't be on 2 because they've just picked up 3. So I feel like that table hasn't been updated yet. I feel like that table is still the table from the draw. Yeah, they've just beat the world champions just lost. The world champions just lost to Tunisia. If Tunisia weren't so bad in that Australia game, they definitely would have qualified. Imagine if the final we see England-Australia, it'll be Ashes cricket all over again. DB said Steve Irwin would be so proud. Tall Paul said amazing games. Thruka said both Tunisia and Aussies played very well. Yeah, the Graham Arnold, the head coach for Australia, just said he's very proud. What's it like to win 2 games out of 3 at the World Cup? Are you pinching yourself? He said, we came in with a great mindset. I could see in their eyes that they were ready tonight. All of Australia will be celebrating now. Yeah. Don't know who they'll play yet. So let's just have a little look, see who it could be. So we know that it is France and Australia that have gone through. And so we are looking at it either being Australia, Argentina, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Poland. It could be France against Argentina, France against Saudi Arabia, France against Poland. We know that France go on to England's side. So it is going to be England against Senegal. And then it will be France against someone. And the winners of those games will face each other. So the quarterfinal that everyone predicted of England-France is still looking a very real prospect. But it could be Argentina. Argentina could be coming up against France. Poland would be interesting as well. Saudi Arabia could be kind of interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. The games later are going to be absolutely huge. The games later are going to be absolutely huge because then we will know what's going to happen and we'll have a real good idea to beat in order to do that. Of course, this means that Australia